Oh, hi. What's up? I'm Josh. Remember I was... Oh, well.
How the hell are you, boys? Josh is introducing himself. Hey! Real men talk shit.
I mean, you'd be surprised the things that people do on podcasts. There was one, I'm not going to name names, I got invited to join a crypto podcast as a guest. And I thought my role would be to play the novice guy that kind of asked the general audience man questions. But it was literally like, that's dumb, and not let me talk for like 30 minutes.
Oh.
So they just spent time explaining it to you?
No.
They just wanted the name on the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, they just wanted it to say with Drifter.
Yeah, and I basically didn't get to talk for like 30, 40 minutes. It's terrible.
You're just sitting there like, well, this is fun. This is nice. We should do this more often, guys. Well, I was about to say something about what we were talking about, and I already damn forgot it. I made a joke. Does anybody remember what we said before?
Drift0r, thank you for coming on. Manscaped, thank you for coming back. How the hell have you guys been? It's been a long fucking time.
Sorry for the long pre-intro. Yes, welcome, Drift0r.
Thank you. It's good to be back. It's good to be here.
It's a blast talking with you and everything else, and we talk on and off all the time, so I figured have you back on and shoot the shit again and see if we can just give some people some entertainment.
If anybody's unaware of the lore, I missed Drift0r's last episode because I had a family situation going on. That wasn't as big of a situation. It was justified. Well, it seemed justifiable at the time. In retrospect, we found out later it wasn't. But
you don't know, and you don't want to take those kind of gambles with your kids, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to be the kind of parents like, they'll probably be okay. Hospitals are like expensive.
Eyes swollen up like this, and they're good. Just put a ham on.
Yeah, let's wait a couple days. We'll see how it plays out. You know,
she might lose the eye. It's okay. What'd you say, Zach? Oh, we muted Mike. Oh, okay. Well, for what it's worth, I hope that you get plenty of. I know that you can't stay with us the whole time or anything, but I hope you get plenty of talk time on here.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'll be here for a bit as long as it's comfortable. You actually caught me at the end of my stream, so I'm coming in fresh off of that, and we'll see how long it lasts.
Oh, nice. Have you been? What games have you been playing on your stream recently?
Almost exclusively Apex Legends because I'm just feeling it. I'm finally. I think I have a similar medical issue as Zach, and my hands have been like all kinds of fucked up, but I'm getting them back. And I'm finally getting back to playing games and shooting people in the face, and it's feeling good. And after being out of Call of Duty for almost a year, I just don't quite feel like getting into it so much. I just kind of want to do something different. I guess I've made a whole year without COD, and now I feel like I'm COD independent, even though that's probably not true.
You went through the withdrawals, and now you don't want to get addicted again.
Yeah. Or more accurately, it was a really spooky time, and I realized that my time on planet Earth is limited, and I probably shouldn't spend all of it on one game. I should at least play multiple games.
At least a few different games. People tell me that all the time, and I'm like, nah. They're like, why do you only play RuneScape and Minecraft? And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah,
that's why.
You like to grind.
Yeah, exactly. It's a grindiness thing. I'm more into that than PvP aspects of games. I would also imagine that at your level, with your analysis of COD and the breakdown at the level that you do, I can naturally imagine that it's probably kind of almost relaxing maybe to play Apex, or like a nice change of pace, you know?
Yeah, to do something
trying to break down everything to the minuscule, you know, maybe you kind of starting fresh and getting a chance to just be almost, not necessarily a noob, I guess, you know, but
well, you get to actually play the game instead of like micromanaging the game.
Right. Meta, and all that good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. As a very, very low ranked Overwatch player, I appreciate those kind of games.
What's your rank in Overwatch?
Currently banned on Overwatch for the 9th time or 10th time. But I normally start off, whenever I rank, I'm like mid-platinum. And then I get toxic and I quickly fall to like bronze, mostly due to leaving early. Because I didn't realize for like 8 games straight that if you leave early, it's worse SR than if you lose. I only left when it was a sure thing. Don't get me wrong now. Like I wasn't just like, or if one dude just spammed heal me too many times. All right, bro, listen now. Listen, there's 5 people on my screen I'm trying to heal, bro. You keep spamming that heals, you're going to get 0. All right,
you're not getting
I
shit.
get reported, and then I get banned, and then, you know. Anyways, I got a long, ugly history with it, but the fact of the matter is that I can't break games down to the proper level like that. You know, Overwatch is a super, because of the way that it's, I guess, bound. I don't know how other games are. That's like the only modern shooter I've played. Halo and Call of Duty I played a lot of back in the day, but there weren't class systems really. It was just kind of like your loadout for your guns. Then obviously with Halo, it's like who gets the weapon first. But with Overwatch, having to know what does what and what goes with what, counters what, and all that, that's been something that was really enjoyable for me. I guess, is an extra element of PvP. I have no idea if Apex does anything like that, but if it does, then I'm definitely interested.
Apex has a class system as well.
They do have classes. They added an arena mode, which is 3v3, so it's it's like a baby Overwatch. That's what I've been playing the most of, just to practice my more mechanical skills and get some of them back if I can.
So, like, is it tank damage heals?
Yeah, pretty much. They have recon as well to give you like info about where the enemies are, but yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Okay, so a little expanded, but general gist.
Mm-hmm.
They've also been trying to get me to try Rainbow Six Siege, but I've heard horrible things. There's 2 games that I've been warned about.
I think you would
Rainbow
like
Six Siege and League of Legends is the 2 games that everybody
if you want
says,
to try
dude,
Rainbow,
just
don't
don't.
start League. Don't let Marzi get you started on League.
No, Cassie's one of the people who told me to stay away with it. The first
he
person
did?
who told me not to
he
play
plays
it was
it all
Charlie.
the time.
Charlie himself told me not to play it. He was like, just don't even bother wasting your time. The game is shit. It's meta and everybody's toxic. And I was like, and he also was like, with your history, this isn't the game for you, bro.
Cassidy was trying to get me to play it with him the other day.
Look, here's the thing. I suck at video games. I'm not interested in really, really sucking at video games. That's part of the reason it's so hard for me to get a new one. Especially, I'm 29 years old, man. My reflexes aren't what they once were. Okay, like
I don't want to hear it, bro. I'm about to be 35, and I got like all paralytic hands here, and I'm still trying to climb up in Elo.
So, Zach said it was something. It was called TOS. Is that or something similar? He said.
Thoracic outlet. It's where the nerves and/or veins in your because they go down like under your bones here and then down your arms. They get pinched.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So your arms don't get the blood that they're supposed to have, and the nerves are pinched. So it does all sorts of weird stuff. So I did get that. Yeah. Weirdly though, so we resolved that, but there's still other issues. Zach, I don't know if you've seen the videos of the updates. It is literally, what do you want to name it? That's where we're at. And I wish I could say I was joking, but I'm not. So
what are you thinking for a name?
What are you trying to name?
Drifter's disease.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
The name of the disease?
Yeah.
Oh, this is like a Cobain type thing where they legit don't even really know what to call it, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually reached out to the Mayo Clinic, and the Mayo Clinic reviewed all of the stuff that I've done here locally in Dallas. And they called me back and they said 2 things. Number 1, it's illegal for them to treat my particular problem because it has to be treated with controlled substances and I'm out of state. And number 2, they said that their team found it interesting and reviewed it. But unfortunately, their team doesn't have any recommendations that the Dallas team hasn't already done. So even if I flew out there, there's not much they could do.
They're just recommending the same list.
Now I'm basically just trying to live my life with what it is. And the amount of Delta 8 that I put in my system has gone up by about 10 times because that drug is like a fucking miracle for pain.
Yes,
and
it is.
For weirdly healing. So Zach, I don't know if this happens to you. So my hands get all fucky if I use them too much. If I take a little bit of Delta 8, I take a lot of Delta 8, like where you're watching Xavier Renegade Angel on Adult Swim levels of Delta 8, and you're just out there in outer space, I can feel like the blood and nerves in my hands doing weird shit, and it feels weird, but then I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up in the morning and feel great and just be
like
ready
you're in touch with the healing. You're like, yes.
Yeah, I don't know what it's doing.
Stones.
The thing about TOS is the weirdest thing is like you'll literally feel like your hand or your arm is like your Thor and you have fucking lightning going up and down your arm and there's nothing that you can do to change it. I get it all the way from the crown of my head. Gabapentin hurts. I'm allergic to it.
You're allergic to gabapentin. I was going to say that might help with that, but yeah, if you're allergic to it,
I was actually put on it 6 times in a year.
They're allergic to it every fucking time, I would assume.
Every single time that I took it, I had a different reaction to it.
So you got the whole gamut of different side effects.
It made my migraines worse. Which are like, that makes no sense. Well, why the fuck does it make your migraines worse? I was like, it just does. It made me nauseous. It made me pass out. It made me throw up.
What in the world, man?
Diarrhea. That was fucking wonderful.
It gives everybody diarrhea, at least at first.
And then it also made me super, super hypersensitive. And there are some places where that's great. And there are some places where that's fucking horrible.
That's true. Cannabis can do that too. Usually it's pain relieving, but every now and then you get some goofy ass strain that makes you hypersensitive. And you'll smoke something like that when you want pain relief. It just makes it worse. And then you just feel like a dipshit. And
then you got your volume on 1 in your headset and you're just sitting here like, I'm not really sure I'm comfortable right now.
Yeah.
I kind of, should I join a voice call? Hell no, I'm not joining a voice call.
Laying down with your eyes closed.
I just got 3 Discord messages. I ain't reading that shit.
You guys
No,
ever
hell
smoke
no.
so much you watch like a foreign film but don't turn the subtitles on and you kind of think you can understand what's going on?
Yeah, definitely have. I've done that on
No,
acid as
never.
well, to be honest with you. And,
Shit. Yeah.
and I was very much wrong, by the way. I'm over here like, yeah, man, I'm on acid, bro. It's all about vibes, man. You don't need language. And then at the end of the movie, I'm like, watch, the plot is this, this, and this. And they're like, fuck no. He was
I
making
can see
perfume,
both of you guys
idiot.
watching Parasite and being like, I completely get it.
Oh,
Dude, if
Parasite.
you're watching Xavier
Yeah.
Renegade Angel, man, you probably really high. I watched that shit in 8th grade like this the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
just make you uncomfortable. It was like Salad Fingers version,
It
but Adult
was.
Swim version. Like just this uneasy, creepy. Like I feel like there's a big message here that should be obvious, and I'm not understanding it, and I'm weirded out.
I don't think there's a message. I've seen it more recently because we have the Adult Swim app here. There's not really a message. It's just utter nonsense made for
Absurdism.
people that are high. And that's the word I use with my wife to determine like what, you know, how we're doing on Delta 8. I ask her, "Are you Xavier Renegade Angel high?" And if she ever says yes, that
My
means
arm
you
is a
need to go to bed.
All right, that means
Yeah,
we did
Go
too
to
much.
sleep immediately.
Time to go to sleep. Yeah, if you got a snake arm, it's time to go to bed. I remember that show. I'm not gonna lie, that show actually probably had a major influence on the following years where I got really heavily into drugs because I was like, this show, is this what being like? This is kind of crazy though. I kind of want to see what this is like. This is nuts. This is what people on drugs come up with. This is kind of cool though.
I think that's a requirement to work at Adult Swim.
I think so too. Yeah, definitely. After
Yeah.
Tim and
I
Eric came
think.
along, they
How the
definitely
hell did
turned
they
into
think of
psychedelic.
Robot Chicken? How the fuck did that work?
And that's another weird one too. They always have kind of weird premises. Even if it's like a normal show, they'll turn it in some way that's very unexpected.
Yep.
It's like that 11 to 2 o'clock in the morning hour has the weirdest animations. You got South Park, you got like all the weird claymation shit on Adult Swim.
Adult Swim, it seems like went through a period where they accepted everything. Do y'all remember
Yes.
like what was that hair thing? Like super good hair forever, super ultra haircut
Perfect hair forever, and you were
That's
going to
it.
say Super Jail as well.
Oh, I loved Super Jail. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
Super Jail
I
was-
fucking hate that show.
really.
I
Okay,
miss
Okay,
Space
look, I
Ghost.
didn't
Never
care for
seen
the
that.
violence. I liked once again the mystic psychedelic aspect is what I go for.
that's
Trying to
yeah.
apply my own meaning to things that are philosophically like not even there. Really, is like where I.
But how
probably
did you deal with the violence though? Because I love violence. I like scary movies and stuff. But Super Jail was like at a level
Perturbing.
where I just felt uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah, it is kind of.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I get that way too. And before I went away for a little while, I even looked at like Real Gore because of the website that I hung out on. And Super Jail still kind of makes your skin crawl a little bit. It's just so over the top, people getting sliced in half. But I have to say that almost similar to Salad Fingers. Once again, my first time seeing that, it's like I couldn't stop watching it. You know, it's like it just felt like I was missing something if I didn't. Like there's a message here, even though I probably feel like there wasn't. David Firth. Now there's credibility to that with Salad Fingers because if anybody watches his other stuff. Most of his stuff is a giant metaphor, and it's brilliant. Yes. Like if you've seen Men from Up the Stairs or whatever, have you seen that? It's about constipation. So everybody's gonna go watch it now.
Wow, a metaphor for constipation.
You're gonna go watch it, and I ruined it for you.
That's
but
okay.
If you watched it the first time and then I told you watch again, you're gonna go, this dude's a fucking genius. Like it's this crazy, absurdist nonsense. Like this guy coming down the stairs and they're fighting about who's going where, and he's making phone calls and shit. And it's a metaphor for constipation. So that's why Salad Fingers got me so hooked. Because all of his other work, there's a big meaning to it, and you can't figure out really what it is until you read it in the YouTube comments. For me personally, because I never would have fucking guessed, and that's what I guess gets me to like Salad Fingers addicted to that kind of stuff. I agree with you though. Xavier Renegade Angel was just nonsense. That was just Delta 8 pot acid. They were smoking Jeffries. They were smoking Jeffries.
Talking about weed and Delta 8, something crazy has happened in the world, and obviously all of us know what's going on with Ukraine and Russia and shit like that, but with all of our different ideologies and stuff like that, I wanted to actually talk about this. Brittany Griner, who is a 7-time WNBA All-Star and was in Russia to play basketball, was arrested and faces up to 10 years behind bars for carrying either weed or Delta 8 with her.
Okay. And what country was she arrested in?
She was arrested in Russia.
Is that her home country?
No.
She's an NBA player.
WNBA, American.
Yeah.
She's American-born WNBA player. Okay.
Yep.
I'm guessing
so she went to Russia
black
for a game?
as well. Black lady.
Yes.
Yep. That's worse than Russia.
Do you want a link?
She's
I
fucked,
can send
bro.
a link if you would like it.
They're gonna prove that she brought it with her, and that's serious.
Apparently, so me and Zach were going through.
That's the problem.
She's fucked. She brought it with her. She's fucked.
Me and Zach were going through the charges, and she had to have had a lot of weed or THC for the amount of charges that she's getting, like over a kilogram.
So her charge is large-scale transportation of drugs, an offense that can carry up to 10 years behind bars in Russia.
Large scale? What would she?
So
What were you doing, girl?
I have two conversations I want to go into with this. Number one, would you bring weed with you into a location that you know it's not legal, regardless of how much you use it? Why the fuck anybody would do that doesn't make any sense.
Never. I had to make that decision. So yeah, because we went to Japan and Singapore, and those are places that do not like weed. I was in California smoking like mad at fucking E3, and then on the plane, nothing for 2 weeks. So, I interrupted. Continue.
No, you're good.
That was relevant.
And right before this, in January, there was somebody that was a teacher that worked at the U.S. Embassy in Russia, I believe in the middle of January, that was also arrested for the same exact charges. So a lot of people would sit here and say that this whole Brittany Griner thing is only because of what's going on with Ukraine, and they're afraid the U.S. is going to invade or interact with it. But understandably, where a lot of people would go there. So no, it's actually not that, which is...
Everybody thinks it's just a debate, like LOL, we arrested American, come attack, LOL.
Well, no, a lot of Iraqis did that too. So press and stuff would go there when the Iraq war started. They would take in the press corps, kill the press corps, and then like just trying to influence the war and make it so that way it wasn't as wanted. So they took somebody that was worth something, and like I can see where that argument will come from.
I don't know. But I bet she's going away.
This entire argument, this entire story came from this post that I saw on Facebook. And somebody posted, if Brittany Griner's stardom cannot get her out of Russia, what makes anybody else think that they deserve to get out either? And I'm like, why the fuck does her stardom matter?
Yeah.
If she legitimately did something illegal, why the fuck is anybody surprised that she's arrested right now?
What I have to say is that she broke the law in a country where the shit was illegal. I mean, you know what I mean? Hell, I broke the law and I faced the consequences because of the country that I lived in. I broke the damn law. You know.
First off, I think most of all of us here agree that that shouldn't be against the law, but it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. A lot of places.
If you are taking that responsibility of knowing that you are breaking the law and going to do it, then accept the responsibilities of doing it.
Yeah, y'all know the old phrase, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Unfortunately, she went to a country that is notorious for lots of time for small things.
So
gulags even.
For federal crimes in the United States, obviously, it is 10 years to life in prison for 1 kilo of heroin, 5 kilos of cocaine, or 1,000 kilos of marijuana. So that's 10 years.
Yeah, the feds have what's called marijuana equivalency. Every drug has a weight in weed. That's how the feds punish you. So, like if you get caught with like 2 Percocets, you basically had 50 pounds of weed, motherfucker. You're under arrest. And
it's absurd.
It's an equivalency. So they'll say these 2 morphine pills in the back of his car can get you more fucked up than 30 pounds of weed. Oh, okay. Well, marijuana equivalency, that's very, very serious. That's 30 pounds of weed. And it was just some pills, you know?
I just thought it was funny that the United States, not more than 5 years for 50 kilos of marijuana.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a really weird bracket in the feds. I can't remember what it is, but there's these really strange rules where like if you get caught with a little bit more, but it's in one bag, it's less serious. Like there's really funky fucking rules. It's really obvious that they keep, in my opinion, forgive this hot take, it's really obvious in my opinion they keep band-aid thumbtacking rules and exceptions onto laws to get more people, you know. And so now it's getting kind of like, what the fuck did this even originally mean? Like who are we supposed to prosecute here? What's the spirit of this law, which is what it's supposed to be, the spirit of the law, you know? Somebody goes and downloads porn off of a website and it turns out that girl was 16 or whatever. He's not supposed to get in trouble if he can prove he didn't know, you know? I mean, it's supposed to be
not how the law works in that regard.
Right, exactly. That's the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law is if you did that shit on purpose and you're looking at kids, you're fucking going under the prison, you know, but they don't. You do it on accident, you're going, I promise.
Then you'll find this interesting. What about the male actor? This was in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. He got, I think, 30 years for sexual assault of a minor because he was a porn star. And one of the coworkers that he was working with was 16 years old, but she said she was 18. She brought a social security card from the state of Florida, a birth certificate, credit card, house, cell phone, fake driver's license, everything. So because they work super hard to verify the teen section to make sure they're not actually underage. So the state of Florida gave her driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, and residency and credit cards and everything, all stating that she was over 18. This guy had sex with her. Yeah, this guy had sex with her on camera, consensually, then found out that she was 16 years old, and it went to court, and his lawyer tried his absolute best to explain what was going on. But the judge had a very hard line in the sand that no matter what the circumstance is, that there's not a possible circumstance that makes it acceptable to be having sex with a 16-year-old, even if you didn't know.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
It's sort of a no tolerance policy. It's a deterrent against other people. But this guy got totally fucked, and he didn't do anything wrong.
I'm
with deterrents.
Deterrents. That's great, but that's not for this instance.
Yeah.
You know,
deterrents in theory are great, but
if he bought her the fake ID and he helped her procure these papers, then okay, cool. I see it. If he helped her in this, but
he knew then. That's conspiracy.
It sounds like he did his homework to legally protect himself. In my opinion, that should have legally protected him.
The studio, the whole studio, because a porn studio, they make hundreds of these little movies, right? They did their standard state required checking and blah, blah, blah.
Well, you would think that would fall to the company, not necessarily the individual.
They got shut down too.
Yeah,
to be fair, she should be the one who's being charged.
I completely agree.
No charges at all.
That should at least be fraud or something, right? Like, how can you not get like assisting the delinquency of a minor? I mean, you did, even if it's yourself, right? What the fuck? I don't know. They could hit her with something.
That's like the teenagers that like take a picture of their junk and get a charge with creating child pornography.
Yes, and producing it is a mandatory minimum sentence, by the way. That's a mandatory minimum 5 years. You can't go for less than 5.
Yeah,
so
even if it's a picture of your own dick. If you drop the phone and it bounces and gets a picture of your underballs, 5 years.
Child porn. Yep, mandatory minimum. And that is, once again, against the spirit of the law. It's supposed to be, the law is supposed to be about what it was meant to be.
And if you send that to somebody else who's also underage, it's also distributing child pornography to another minor.
Which is also a mandatory minimum, by the way. Yep. Pretty much everything dealing with CP is mandatory minimums.
And
which is,
also
of course, not a bad thing.
Which
when they do it intentionally.
Yeah, in theory, it's a great thing, right? People are against CP, but when you come to these practical terms, then you have cases like this. And it seems so much of our law is like that. No matter what the case, even like drugs.
Feds are about the numbers, bro. They're about the numbers. As many people for as long as they can. And the best thing that you can do is work Unicore. If you go there and make some army clothes for them, and they give you a couple boxes of zebra cakes for 2 months worth of work, hey, everybody wins except for you. You know,
well, you're from Mississippi, so you should be familiar with the spirit of some laws not being so friendly.
Oh yeah, 100%. The spirit of them sometimes is exactly the way that it was. You know, like the spirit of this law is fuck black people. That
was like half the laws in Mississippi.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and that is the spirit of the law with those ones. You know, like can we make it illegal to be black? You know, that's pretty much how Mississippi laws were. You know,
that's a quote from Nixon's assistant in the 60s. So Nixon, I think, lost an election and then ran again. And he was getting he did become president, but he didn't like that the hippies were gaining power. And he worked with this guy who's I'd have to look up the details, but he said, well, we can't make it illegal to be black. We can't make it illegal to be a hippie or a communist or whatever, but we can criminalize every single one of their habits. We can do all sorts of like crazy stuff. So they tried to criminalize everything that those groups of people enjoyed in order to break them up and make their lives as hard as possible.
Give them excuses to arrest them and break the movement down.
Yeah.
So I guess that starts with like LSD, I would imagine. Like just starts off with acid becoming illegal, because I know for a fact that clinical research has done acid works wonders for people if they're in the right mindset and with people that know what they're doing. You know, like it has shown them wonders in PTSD research and things like that. They made it illegal.
It's like a reset, is my understanding. It'll like kind of rewind PTSD and kind of put you back in a more neutral state.
The way that I always felt about it, and I was one of the acid heads that was really spiritual hippied out about it, you know? Oh, man. Hell, honestly, I don't even know how to put it, dude. I don't know. I was just, I don't know, man. I was really spiritual. I took it seriously. I didn't look at it as just like seeing the colors. I tried to improve myself some way or try to learn something from it or relate to people, if that makes sense. And so that's what it felt like for me, man, was like cleaning my brain off. When I was in prison, actually, I used to say, when I get out of prison, I'm going to take acid. I'm going to wash all this prison filth off of my brain. And I haven't. I don't intend to. That was the plan at one point. So I could see why you would say that it would essentially be rewinding PTSD because it kind of gives you this wider perspective, I guess, you know,
well, a lot
if you're ready for it.
Is the way that you're going to use it. So a lot of these psychedelics especially can be used as a tool in order to reset your perspective or see things from a different side that you usually won't or like would block out. And you can use that to differentiate your normal thoughts from having a more outside perspective that's more broad shit and changing rather than being set in your own ways of like a daily grind or
Absolutely. And I feel like that's probably why it helps people with PTSD. I mean, perspective is an important thing.
MDMA has been being used a lot in trials for PTSD.
Yeah, all of them actually are. Ketamine.
MDMA, you guys are into that advanced stuff. I'm a one vice guy. I haven't stepped into the big boy arena just yet.
Well, I've never used.
Don't for one thing.
No, Zach's definitely not.
First off, don't. Yeah, Zach's not an old pro, and I'm retired. I've been clean for years. I just smoke pot now. That's it. I don't do anything else. I don't drink.
I've got a question for you guys. I'm going to take this whole show in a radically different direction. What do you guys think about UAPs?
I don't know what that is. UFOs, UAP?
Unidentified aerial phenomenon. It's a new word for UFOs.
Just a modern term for it. I'm a little behind.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of opinions, but I legitimately think I figured it out.
All right, hit me with it.
It's a little bit of a long story, so give me like 2 or 3 minutes to do this as fast as possible.
We're down.
There's was a physicist at University of Birmingham, Alabama, Dr. Ning Li, Chinese national, moved to the United States. She had a lot of interest in high temperature superconductors in the early 90s, late 90s and early 2000s. Superconductor is a material that can conduct electricity with essentially no losses. It has no friction. It does a bunch of bizarre stuff, but they don't really exist except at temperatures that are like almost absolute zero. Yeah, so a high temperature superconductor would be like a room temperature one, or even a pretty damn cold one, as long as it's superconducted. Ning Li put out a paper just saying that using these high temperature superconductors, she created a device that would create an alternate gravity force. Of course, the press took this and says anti-gravity and miracle, blah, 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 like Star Trek shit. She said it was a sort of alternative force that can make small objects levitate. Okay. And then a year later, she puts out a paper saying, we were wrong, it doesn't work. She quits the university and founds a private company that does nothing but research high-temperature superconductors and transportation technologies. This company gets a grant from the Department of Defense.
Government contract,
and then,
I knew it.
At this point, Ning Li disappears. She's gone for like 15 or 20 years, and the only public information we have about her is that she died at 78. But what's interesting is if you look at her early results, she had these weird kind of disc-shaped objects with little superconductors spinning and some triangles and stuff. And the early research seemed to indicate that she could maybe make them move a little bit and do some goofy things. So the DoD bought the company, bought the research. There's public patents for some very interesting high-temperature superconductors that look pretty similar to hers. And about 8 years after she dropped off the face of the earth is when that Tic Tac video showed up. You know, the one that they were like the pilots were chasing and went underwater and stuff. And I genuinely think that at least some of the modern UAPs are Dr. Ning Li's alternative force work with high temperature superconductors. And she's using it to make, or was before she died, really interesting drones, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which now can be seen all over the place, moving silently, perhaps.
So this is very interesting. I've been doing lots of research on this because I'm actually working on a video on Bob Lazar, which
sure that's a rabbit hole.
So a lot of the two most credible you brought up, Bob Lazar probably, and the Tic Tac videos with the what are they called? Air pilots, where they're tracking it with their radar and thermal, and it drops from like 70,000, or it comes from 70,000 feet, which is the top peak of the radar. So they don't know how high it actually was. Almost instantly down to the ocean and then submerges underwater. And a lot of this is, it seems very credible. And coming from mixing the stories and working together, like Bob Lazar talks about alien technology with 115 and gravity amplifiers. Well, what's her name again? Can you say it?
Ningli.
Ningli. I'll write it down here. It's
but she was working on, like you said, these superconductors that will basically it's not anti-gravity like they call it. It's basically like almost somewhat related to like magnetic levitation. Where you know how you can get like floating globes or floating lights or whatever like that. It's basically doing that, but with it's very weird high level physics that makes I don't know exactly how to explain this.
I get it. It's like the levitating globes, except you don't have to have the big goofy base. The globe itself will just more or less levitate. I don't know about 70,000 feet and under the water, but it does do interesting similar things, maybe 7 feet.
So it's going to be very interesting with these world conflicts, especially if it progresses, if any of this technology is brought out. Which, I mean, who knows? Like, they'll deny it tooth and nail, even if it is brought out, because they want to keep world secrets. I
got to ask you, do you believe Bob Lazar, or do you believe he's full of shit?
I tend to believe most of what he says, just because of how long he's told his story, mostly without changing it, and the people he's had around, and his history being erased, his birth certificate being erased, social security card, past schooling history being completely erased from any records except for finding like old newspapers.
That was a weird one, because it was like, oh, he never worked at Bell Labs, he was never here, he never did this, and then there's him in the newspaper right there at Bell Labs.
Interesting.
Bob Lazar is an interesting dude because he's a scientist, and even if he's making something up, he's made up a compelling story. And I like the way he described it. His job was to try to reverse engineer a UFO. And he said it would be like dropping a nuclear generator into Victorian England. And they can look at it and they can tell, well, it's making some energy and these parts are moving. But, you know, they don't know what the hell atomic physics is. Atoms haven't been discovered yet. So they have no clue whatsoever.
There's no fundamental understanding.
And then he's like, that's what he was like. They start tearing it apart, and instantly they walk up to it, they drop dead from radiation poisoning. Like they would just think this thing is basically like black magic.
Yeah. Well, that's what he described. He said somebody tried to open it and it blew up on him.
That's who he replaced. From what he gathered is that there was a bad accident relating to one of the reactors.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm very indecisive, if you will, on UAPs. I don't have what I call I don't have beliefs, if you will, more like ideas, I guess. I'm like literally open to whatever.
And the funny thing is, like, we're calling it UAPs now. They used to be called UFOs, unidentified. Like, there's so many different names, and they keep changing it legislatively so that it's harder to find documents portraying to what they're working on officially.
That makes it seem like almost like
could fit. Because of the fact that a lot of times it could just be light things. I remember Neil deGrasse Tyson saying, like, you'd be amazed at how often people report UFOs, and an astronomer's like, you're an idiot. That's a blah, 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 blah. You know, he's like, that's not a fucking spaceship. That's a blah, 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 blah cloud reacting with the, you know.
Well, I mean, that's real. There's a lot of weird stuff in the sky, and we don't lay on our backs and look at it all the time. So there's a lot of things people don't know about.
Could even
there's
be a
also a
meteor
lot
in
of
your
people
peripheral
that
vision.
Aren't even intelligent enough to understand that planes go through the sky and have lights on them and everything else. And like, I'm sure
chemtrails. You seen chemtrails?
Dear God, man, the dude's in prison. Every plane that flies over there they go, man. They're taking away my kids. They're spraying that stuff. We ain't gonna be able to have babies. Every damn felon in there got home from prison 30 times already and popped out 77 kids apiece. I don't know why they think they're putting some kind of. And they're talking about they're putting Peter Soft in the food. My dick ain't getting hard no more. Maybe it's because you're sick.
I've heard that conspiracy before.
What did they put? Peter Soft or Peter Soft? They call it different things.
Yeah,
food in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, I never had any problem womping it. I'm just saying. I never had any problem. I went in when I was 19. So I mean, maybe the issue isn't the fucking food.
Oh, then I got a jail question for you. Yeah. Would it be true to say that most of the people in the jail are very low IQ?
I wouldn't say very low. I would say that the average person in jail or prison is probably a little bit below average intellect as far as like what you could do on an IQ test if I had to hazard. But most of them are quite charismatic and slick and street smart. So maybe they can't tell you what 3 times 3 is, but they can break down the math on how much they're going to make off of that cocaine when they mix it with that baking soda and cook some crack.
That's that motivation, man. There's a dude in my high school, like that big redneck guy. He hated geometry, math, everything. the teacher gave him a problem where he was supposed to measure how much land he could hunt deer on to like section off and build a fence. Made a fucking 100 on that test because he cared.
Had to put it in perspective. Yeah.
Next test, 0. Like, of course, like nothing.
The exact same thing, just radius or something or area, and he's just like, nope, I forgot. It's not about acreage.
Exactly.
It's just going through and actually understanding something that you actually know and think about. Like, if you sit there and talk about fucking drugs to somebody like me, I'm not going to know how much fucking money you're going to make from a kilo of coke. I'm just not. But if you sit there and fucking explain a fucking pizza to me, I mean, you're like, yeah, I get it. I know how much that's going to cost. I know how much it costs per slice. I know how much cheese I'm going to
go and talk like Yu-Gi-Oh combos with him.
It's almost like the gap is wider in there. It's like in prison and jail, you don't really meet a lot of like just normal, like average intelligence guys like I am. You know, it's like everybody's either like this evil genius and they were pulling off multi-million-dollar heists, or they got caught on the street corner, you know, selling some crack. And it's
I'd imagine that the geniuses, that would be the smaller of the crowds. Like there wouldn't be too many of them that really get in trouble.
Precisely. Yeah,
you were
the smarter guys,
in
the old hardened criminals,
prison.
mind their business. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that, Myth?
You were also in federal prison. So I wonder if there is a study out there of, because these are most people who are in federal prison are running bigger operations. I wonder if they're generally smarter than like a state prison or something like that.
Now, keep in mind also that they have lots of, once again, loophole laws that they added on. For example, a lot of dudes in the feds committed state crimes, but they had a gun that wasn't made in their state. So it went federal because they said, oh, well, you had this gun. This was made in New York and you're from Florida, federal, boom. And now you got 30 years, you know, instead of the 3 year sentence you would have got at the States. It's again, you know, another spirit.
I also wonder how the levels go based with IQ as well. Like if you look at low security, medium security, and high security, would the people in high security, because they're the murderers, the people that are like the more obtuse, the more unique kind of people, but they also might have more unique intellect that a lot of people wouldn't genuinely understand. It might be a way to look at higher IQ.
And a lot of times the guys at the minimum securities, like the places where like Kyle went and stuff like that, you know, that we had a camp next door, minimum security, a camp or whatever. A lot of times they're the guys that were committing white collar crimes, that were higher intellect type crimes, you know, like an Office Space, federal pound me in the ass prison. We're not going to that. We're going to federal white collar resort prison. I was next door to the federal white collar resort prison, you know, the camp. And they're probably, I would imagine, smarter on average than the people that were at the medium with me. I'm telling you, bro, there were some motherfucking one heads in prison. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people. Like, how did you make it this far alive? Like, do you even know how to feed yourself? Like, there were people in there that, I mean, like, I understand not knowing certain things. I got out. I didn't know how to drive. All right. Yeah, I can see that. You know, I just started doing drugs, drinking when I was a little bit young, and then I went away for a while and all that. Okay, that's fine or whatever. These motherfuckers would come up to me, and I've probably told this story before. I got a World Almanac when I was in there every year. Every year would come out. My mom would send me the World Almanac, right? Because one thing, inmates don't know shit. 99% of the arguments is some stupid scientific fact that everybody should motherfucking know, like the Earth revolves around the sun. And then there's this huge fist fight over it. 90 people want to kill each other about it. You know, it's some basic shit. So I get the World Almanac because it settles a lot of arguments. And then I was known as the guy with the World Almanac. So I'd be getting every fucking argument in the entire cell block. They come to me, right? Hey, you got that Google book? Yeah, man. What do you need to know? Hey, listen, man, let me see it real quick. No, bro. Every time that I let people borrow it, I got to go get it back from them, man. No, what do you need me to look up? Listen, man, I just need to see it for just a minute, bro. What do you need to look up? I'll look it up for you. Listen, check that World Almanac, bro. I told this fool, Jennifer Lopez got an ass reduction in the 90s, bro. I'm telling you, it used to be bigger. That thing used to jiggle, but it just ain't like that. She got it removed. And I'm like, that's not going to be in there. He's like, bro, just check. How are you 45 years old and you think the World Almanac is going to contain information about Jennifer Lopez's ass?
Well, if they're 45, they might have lead poisoning. A lot of the boomer generation is just like lead poisoning, like low IQ, and not everybody that's like that is in jail. I'm gonna take a sideways here and dick on some family members. I have some very low IQ family members that like.
So do I.
We're from the
South. Think, yeah, Zach, you've probably heard a few of these stories before. Like.
I haven't been able to interact with them though, and I have a lot of them my own.
I will spare a variety of the N-words that would usually be described these scenarios, and I will say that my father and grandparents were convinced that recycling was invented by black people to inconvenience white people and drain time from the white economy because it forces well-meaning white people to sort out all these complicated plastics and papers and waste their time. The reality is that he didn't know what he could recycle and not. so it had to be a conspiracy. Or a fun one like, you should always order thin crust pizza because pizza companies are legally required to sell you the same weight pizza for the same price. So if you make your crust smaller, you got to have like 4 times more toppings.
I'm not buying that.
How seat belts will kill you and they're bad for you, even though like this man went with a helicopter pilot who was drunk, who tried to do loop-de-loops and flew out and had to hold on to the side. And he says, I'd still never wear a seatbelt. Like, I mean, it's the South. So you know, a lot of this kind of attitude, a lot of this, like it's like not even like reading comprehension. You give them a basic paragraph from like a book you would see in 7th grade or the newspaper, and you read the 3 sentences and ask them what it's about, and they don't quite grasp it. They might say back 3 or 4 words in a row that they read that seemed kind of important, but the overall idea is
no concept, no conceptualization.
Yeah. So
and also,
did your family ever have it like an idiot savant moment that you're like, how the fuck did that come in your head?
An idiot savant moment.
Not my family. I got a prison one from one of the guys.
I have a really good family one, and
I'm going to say no, but I'll pass it off to you guys.
Okay, so my stepdad, love him to death. We never really got along very well, but I love him. I care about him. It's just I'm much more intelligent than he is, so it's very, very hard to get along with somebody that you see as lesser than you from like the age of 6.
Yeah, I feel you.
So at this point, we were dealing with our cars being impounded all the time because they refused to pay the fucking insurance. So every time that they would drive somewhere and he would drive to work, they would get the car impounded. Then they'd have to pay $200, get the car impounded. Then their license would get suspended over and over again. He's working at Advanced Auto at the time. And he started taking in batteries. And he's like, you know, I press this button that says core charge and the drawer opens up. And they don't account for the money that you put the core charges in for. So he would go through every night and ring out 3 to 4 core charges. And then go to the store, get cigarettes, get soda, and come home. So after about 3 months, he was found out. And I was like, the fuck? Because he just didn't show up one night. Just didn't come home. And it's like, you know where the fuck you're going. Like, did you not get cigarettes and come home or something like that? Like, you couldn't find the money to whatever. So later that night, he calls from jail. Yeah, I was arraigned in jail. I was arraigned in court, went to jail. They're deciding to let me go. I have to go pick up my car, and I'm never allowed to go back to Advanced Auto again.
No, not Advanced. Fuck, what am I going to do?
Got to go to those Philistines at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Damn it, O'Reilly. Okay. So, 3 fucking heads.
He gets home.
Those po' boys.
They go to bed. I roll over and I look at my wife because we were 16 at the time. We just got done having our first baby. And I look at her and it's like,
not a normal sentence, but we'll glaze over that.
No, it's not. I'm so glad you laughed because I was trying to hold it back.
Hot load, Zach.
Fucking weird situation.
Lives up to the name, you know? My God.
Yeah. I'm like, how in the fuck did somebody with a 63 fucking IQ understand that he presses core charge? They're not going to count how many fucking core charges they have in the fucking store. That if you did it 5 or 6 times, it probably never would have been caught.
But doing it every fucking day, the whole inventory goes missing, right?
Yep.
And they're like, what the hell happened? This is supposed, we're missing 3,000 fucking.
He got, what was it? Grand larceny, pled down to nothing, and was released on his own recognizance.
Wow. He got super lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be
Idiot savant moment. Idiot savant moment.
How'd he get off the hook?
He just got released. The owner of the locale was like, you know, he's been a great worker. This is the only time he's fucked up. Just let him go.
So they didn't press charges. I got you.
Got
lucky as hell is what I'm hearing.
Very lucky. But if he's got a 63 IQ, that's probably why he never knew that people would look for things that are missing. Like, if that's the real number, that's getting into the range where object permanence becomes a little bit challenging.
Yes.
You remember, like, if y'all ever watch fucking Arrested Development?
No.
No,
I've watched
all right,
a
never
little
mind.
bit of it.
I was gonna say it's almost like that scan. There was a part in there where the kids are running a banana stand together for their dad, and every time that somebody buys one, the girl figures out the math. She goes, "Hey, listen, these bananas cost this and this. Every time somebody buys one, we can eat one." And so like they just every time that they eat one, and then at the end of the day, they're like, "What the fuck? Where's all the money? Where's the bananas? Like we don't have anything." You know, it's just same situation where you just do the math in your head and you think you got something figured out. You're like, "Oh, I'm skimming this off the top. I'm skimming this off the top right here. They'll never know." And then you just fuck. I thought you were meaning like I was gonna say the time I like phrases. You guys probably know that. I think they're very useful things. You know, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I like stuff like that. Never look a gift horse in the mouth, right? I like phrases. I think they're really good ways to summarize big concepts, right? I'm normally pretty good with them. We were watching something in prison with my buddy that I consider to be one of the most intelligent human beings I've ever met in my entire life, despite the fact that he could barely spell his name. He's the guy that showed me that I thought spelling was the DNA of intellect. I was incorrect. You can still grasp vast scientific concepts without being able to spell. I get that now. Okay.
Called engineers.
And we had our buddy Terry.
Or
yeah,
you
exactly.
could be a super genius and take core charges at advanced auto and know how to spell.
That's the huge brain move and get away with it.
Really, really bad at social studies and science.
Well, this dude, this guy, our buddy Terry, right? My boy Josh, like I said, he's brilliant. You know, he's awesome. Yeah, he would have made a great engineer, not a writer. Definitely would not have been a writer, but he'd have made a great engineer or something. Our boy Terry over here is in, you know, doing 30 for meth or whatever. I love the guy. I love Terry. We're really good friends, but he wasn't, you know, he was the kind of guy that one time he got all amazed, like the moon is just floating there, bro. And we were like, that's your deep thought of the day. That's what hit you different today. But we were watching a movie in the movie room there. Clarence Heatley Bilal, the preacher that I just made a video about, was the guy that was running this movie room. We were in there watching a movie, and I can't remember what movie it was, but you guys might recognize it. He said, the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. And then the guy behind him goes, what the hell does that mean? And like me and Josh look at each other confused. Like, that's funny because it's random, right? The second mouse gets the cheese. Like, that's a totally nonsensical phrase. And
no,
Terry
that makes
like,
good sense.
No, I know, bro. Yeah, this is where I got absolutely shit on because Terry goes, yeah, the first one got hit by the trap. And I was like, oh, damn. Terry just fucking checkmated me, bro, in front of God and everybody like this, dude, out here in front of all of these inmates. Like, I'm the one head now. So I guess it's all about perspective once again.
Yeah.
Because that was my dumb ass. That was what I thought you meant by like an idiot savant moment. He just randomly came out with it. You know, it's like I couldn't have been more shocked if he would have said pi to the 100th place or something like that, knowing this guy. But he just randomly got it immediately. He was like, the first one got hit by the trap. He's saying that sometimes you got to let somebody else take the risk first and you jump in for the opportunity. And I was like, fuck. All right. Yeah, you're right. I bet that is what it meant. Yeah, that's
like if you're on a secret mission, you're like, send somebody else to go check out that little area first.
Yeah, exactly.
See what's going on.
Go poke that thing and see if that's a landmine.
Throw your cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Cannon fodder is basically what he was saying, I guess.
Well, they do that with goats, actually. They clear landmines with goats.
Well, that's awful and hilarious, I have to say.
Delicious. You forgot
delicious. It's like killing goats with fire aspect on it. You already get cooked meat, you know. I mean, it's already done. Dude, pretty sick.
You ever eat goat curry? I love goat curry.
So
I've not had goat anything. I don't think even goat cheese.
What? You can get goat cheese at Walmart.
I have no excuse then. I probably have tried it.
I can just think of that game, the Goat game that came out like 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, was it Goat Simulator? It was fantastic.
Yeah. Goat Simulator? Did I miss something?
Oh yeah, it's an amazing game.
You should play it on stream.
As hell.
You play as a goat who their job is to kind of create chaos. The game was really shitty when it first came out and it was very buggy, but in a very fun kind of way. Like you'd get your goat horn stuck in an airplane, it would just take off and like drag you and your neck would break and stretch out, or all these like just crazy stuff. And the developer, their first patches, it said, we're fixing all the things that crashed the game, but all the other bugs we're leaving in because they're funny.
Yeah,
and the game just exploded after that.
Yeah, you can like ragdoll and like break the physics so you get shot like across the map. It's so fun. They
just left the bugs. They're like, it's fun like this.
And there's maps where all the trampolines like connect. You can like bounce super high and then jump to another trampoline and then another one and then another one and like keep going across the map.
The worst part is they probably thought they had some hyper realistic physics engine and they were like super stoked about it. They're like, this is gonna be sick. This is gonna be the most realistic goat simulator of all time. And they just fucked it up and everybody loved it. And they're like, whatever.
Sometimes
screw all those physics we did.
You got to roll with it. Like you see some of these directors that make bad movies and they get really butthurt about it. Even if people are enjoying their bad movie, they're mad because they tried really hard. And then some other people try really, really hard and make an absolute shit movie, but it's popular. And they're like, I will monetize this. Like Tommy Wiseau with The Room. Like he knows people thinks it's terrible, doesn't give a fuck. He's making more money than he would with any other type of film production.
Is that the Hi Mark?
Yeah, it's really good.
When I started Twitch streaming, 2/3 of the chat was named Oh Hi Mark with different numbers after it. I was like, why is everybody named Oh Hi Mark? What is this? All right,
the movie itself is pretty bizarre, but it's fun. It's one of those things.
Clips, and it was like, I see why it's so popular, and I see what you're saying. Also, it doesn't matter that it was a shit movie because he's rich and famous now. It's kind of like the video game, it doesn't matter that the game ended up not working how it was intended.
But a great movie came out of it.
Exactly, a masterpiece that people enjoyed came from it. At the end,
you guys watch bad movies? Like you get stoned and just watch something like silly Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That. Like watching shit really bad, like indie horror films that
it's been a while.
Horrible special effects.
So, I know everybody used to do this, so. I went on Kick-Ass Torrents and was like, new movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you filter out the XXX movies and you then re-click new movies. Mm-hmm. Because, you're downloading a whole bunch of movies on your mom's computer and it's their problem, not yours. You don't want to download porn. So I downloaded this movie called Blood Creek. And I don't know if any of you have seen Blood Creek. Mm-mm. I watched the
one. I'm going to keep talking.
15 or 20 minutes of it.
Got Henry Cavill.
I don't remember. But the first reason I turned this fucking movie off was it was in this cabin and they open up the cabin door and you see this horse head floating that was severed off a horse that's running around the house. And the horse head is just sitting there chomping. And then it goes and bites the fucking front of the cabin and just starts eating the floor.
Fucking why?
Oh.
I have no fucking idea.
Is it Super Castlevania 4 fucking floating horse heads? What is this shit?
Are you sure you're not describing an Adult Swim show?
Yes, 110%.
Sounds like it. Yeah, it definitely sounds like
I
it.
might still have the burned disc, but I don't know exactly where it is at the moment. There's a lot of fucking movies over here, like close to 500, and I don't know exactly where it is.
Have you guys seen Rubber? Rubber is a movie about a killer tire.
Except the killer tire parts are great, but then the other parts, like this weird art film that I hate.
Yeah.
Oh, they're trying to get a little ambitious with it and make it all artsy.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to put 2 recommendations in here if you guys want to see some stuff. But
while we're talking about movie recommendations, if you have somebody that you want to watch movies with, this might be a great product for you.
Netflix and chill could lead to other things.
This podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, RMTS. The best for below men the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package is the ultimate hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide with the exclusive offer and 20% off free worldwide shipping with code RMTS. Thank you, Manscaped. They make a very high quality product. They really put time into making sure that they do things right. Like I said before, high quality braided cables. I hate when I get new products and they're not USB-C, when they're micro USB, and I have to deal with that crappy cable. It really bothers me. And they have a wireless stand, so you don't have to worry about unplugging and plugging in your razor. You just drop it right in here, and it's charged and ready to go for the next time. They also have great products like ball deodorant and perfume that leave you smelling good, so you don't walk around with your gamer sweat all day.
It's an easy product to laugh about, but it makes a difference when the moment strikes. When that day happens, you'll say, "Thank God I was prepared."
And think of it this way: at some point, you've licked an armpit with deodorant on it. You just lick deodorant at some point. It fucking sucks. So also understand that if she licks your balls after you put ball deodorant on, say thank you, because that fucking sucks. I get it.
So why were you licking armpits?
Wait, you licked an armpit with deodorant in it?
Yeah,
wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with armpits.
I'm leaving.
It wasn't an armpit.
Yeah, we're not judging here, but that was just, you threw that out there like everybody's done it, man. You made it sound like checking the mail, dog.
I'm saying like most people, I can understand where they've gotten deodorant in their mouth, whether it's the Axe spray deodorant, you get it in your mouth.
Oh, you're saying in general.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I've done this.
But
I was playing baseball and there was a shit ton of gnats. And I was like, you know what? How can I get rid of the gnats from swarming in front of my face and my hands and stuff like that? So I put deodorant on my batting gloves to see if that would work. And without thinking, I licked my batting glove to get like a hair off my mouth or something. And I got a shit ton of deodorant in my mouth.
This is just like the tape with the pube story, Zach. What were you doing when you were young? Are you sure you weren't smoking weed, man?
I was thoroughly retarded.
Bro, man, I can't believe you came out so normal, man. All the shit that you used to do. Damn, dude.
Everybody used to be a dumb kid. Just think about all the dumb things you did when you were a kid.
I was one of those kids that tried to figure everything out themselves instead of asking for help. Like my wife was the one who taught me how to shave. Like nobody ever taught me before that.
Nobody ever taught me either, man.
Yeah,
I didn't.
It's weird.
I didn't start shaving until I was 30.
I only really get like a trash stash and like a patch right here. It's about all I get.
I had a soul patch.
That's all I get.
When
I grew a soul patch out in prison a couple times. I was like, fuck it, there's no girls. I don't give a shit. And I grew that nasty motherfucker out like 3 times, dude. This actually comes out, believe it or not. Once you let it get a little bit longer, it definitely looks like there's a shit stain on my face. It's real.
Like this fucking long.
What you got going on down here?
It blew in the wind.
Got anything under here?
I get
I get like a patch right here, which is why I shave. But yeah, I get stubble. Like a couple weeks ago, I had it grown out a little bit more, and I decided to cut it down because I was seeing if this part would fill in, and it didn't. So,
dude, my best friend in high school did the exact same thing. He grew his beard out just to see if this patch would go eventually or not. He had a patch right here, like a circle, and he was like, "I don't get it. That motherfucker won't go. It's not something I'll ever have to worry about. I'll never have a beard. It's not in my DNA, you know." My family, it runs in my family. We had very little hair on our arms and hella on our legs. Hella prison tats in my case on my legs.
I think I just need a little bit because my dad has a great beard.
Yeah, I'm not getting a beard. It's already too late. I think I'm 29 now. I've got my mom calls it the trash stash. You know, if I grow it out longer than about 5 or 6 days, it turns into the molest stash.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll get the little pencil mustache right here. Before I got a little older and my hair got a little thinner, I used to have the Anglo fro. Like if I didn't comb it down, my hair would grow like straight up and like curl in into this big ball. Yeah, I see what you got. Yeah,
he's got it.
Zach's got
bass?
lots of
that's
hair.
the kind of hair you should have. A bass player should have. That sounds like gray hair.
Anglo fro.
Zach's working on it. When he gets that dreadlock out of the end,
I know
he'll be there. When he gets that dread untwisted, there we go. Let it out, Zach.
Oh
it
my
just
God,
stays in the bun shape. It's not even coming free.
Nope, it's not.
It's all tangled.
It's like we stay like this 24 hours.
Bro, look
a day.
at how curly that shit is.
Zach hairsprays his man bun confirmed live on Twitch, exposed in 4K, bro. You got caught in 4K. That's definitely hairspray.
You guys streaming in 4K?
No, it's only 1080p.
Okay.
No,
what
your
about on
camera looks
YouTube?
glorious.
YouTube, you can stream 4K if you hate yourself.
I don't think my webcam can. I need to get a plug up for my camera. Actually, I think I can just plug my Canon camera straight to my computer and use it as a camera for streaming now. I gotta look at that.
HDMI if you have like an Elgato.
I do have an Elgato.
Okay, if you go on USB, it's harder. The Logitech Brio will do 4K 30. Man, it's a pain in the ass to work with. I would tell you not to buy one unless you're ready to do some professional stuff because it is so hard to configure.
Can't you also use like iPhones and shit like that as a secondary camera, which would also work for 4K?
I use it as my main camera when I first started streaming. I had to download a sketchy ass app before I got my webcam. And I
like
propped my phone up. My very first stream was using my phone for the webcam. Yeah, it was bad.
Phones have very good quality cameras nowadays.
Film movies on them.
Oh yeah,
4K60?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I want one of those, Zach. That's what I'm looking at. I hadn't got a new phone. When I got out this last time, I got an XR. Yeah, is that the new one?
But Josh, we haven't brought this up yet. You got big news this week on stream.
Oh yeah, we talked about that on the Patreon show, huh?
Yeah,
for the main show. All right, well, just in case anybody is unaware,
congratulations!
I was live on stream last week. Thank you, Zach. My wife walked in while I was streaming and just handed me a big fistful of pregnancy tests. So we got number 2 on the way.
Nice.
Woohoo!
Well, congratulations.
I was shocked. Thank you. I did not expect that. Like, I was so hyped that she did it on stream, but it just like it took me, my mom counted apparently 7 seconds to realize what she handed me because my brain just was not comprehending. I never in a million years expected. I thought they were vapes.
Were you like mid-raid or something?
I was playing Minecraft. I wasn't even doing anything
you're
important.
in Minecraft.
Yeah, I've been playing. I've been streaming for like only an hour, and I was doing something, and then she just walked in, and I was like, "Hey, are you back now?" Because she told me she was going to the store. So, are you back? And then she handed me those, and I was just like, I thought they were vapes. I was about to take the piss cap off of them and put it in my mouth. So I'm really glad I didn't do that because I'd have been on live stream fails, no doubt.
That would have been clipped for sure.
That would have been fucking hilarious.
But thank you for the congrats, man. I'm thrilled about it. My wife is not as thrilled as I am. I mean, she's thrilled about having the baby. She's not thrilled about all of a sudden, like, let's cut back 95% of your caffeine and stop vaping immediately, you know, and your medicine you got to stop taking. It's not so much fun.
Start saving every penny you can because children are expensive.
Yes.
On top of that, 30% for taxes. So make sure you save that off the top and then you save your money.
Yes, taxes are going to be fun this year for me.
Yeah.
That's
it's hard, especially
doing it as a streamer last year, coming in as a Twitch streamer. I had Patreon, YouTube, Twitch, all printed out. All my that's what is the fucking, what do they call it? Proof of income.
Yeah, you don't just get like a W-2 like a normal job. You have to
Yeah, exactly. I had to come in with all these printed off my PayPal and everything. And I was like, I get it from all these different places. This is what is internet now, you know. But it got done. I paid my damn taxes, you know.
It's taxes are difficult for me with all the crypto holdings because it depends on how long you hold stuff and where it's coming from and what platform it is, and it's so complicated that.
Doesn't it also vary depending on where the owner of the application is too?
It's not supposed to, but
it's not.
Why? Because it's supposed to be anonymous in concept.
Yeah, the concept is supposed to be anonymous, but you're supposed to report all your holdings to the IRS kind of regardless. That got a lot of YouTubers pretty early on, like a lot of those. So you know, you work for PKA, all the old tubers. A lot of those guys didn't know they had to pay taxes on YouTube revenue. Like getting paid on the internet or PayPal, that was just nonsense as far as as they were concerned.
Yep, it is taxable income. I promise you. My tax guy looked it up. He was like, "I'm not even sure you got to pay tax." Oh.
And they will come after
anything
you
more than $500,
especially if you're a big figure, because they will make an example out of you.
They will, and it's self-employment income, so that's taxed at a higher rate than traditional income. I remember my first year doing YouTube in college, I made like $37,000 or something, and I was like, okay, you know, I know what my income is and my tax bracket, and I guess I'm not going to get a refund or something. And I went there and they just hit me with like a $10,000 tax bill.
Oh my God.
Because it was all consulting fees all the way down, self-employment, everything.
Yep.
I wasn't paying quarterly. I got those fees too. Dark times. When you're a college student, $10,000 bill is like getting shot in the face. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm 29 and I would shit myself if they called me up and told me I owed them 10 grand. What the fuck?
I don't want to say it on stream. Do you want me to tell you what I had to pay in taxes this year?
Sure.
Quite a fucking bit.
This is what I had to fork over a few days ago.
Recently taken care of.
Write a check.
Write a check to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, it's bank draft, but the point is, it's not like it's coming out. It's like when the accountant's done, it's like, well, I hope you're prepared for. Oh, lucky you, Zach. Lucky you.
Kids.
Yeah. Kids give you a big tax break.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, it has been good hanging out, but it is time for me to go and take care of some other business here.
Sounds good, man. It was great chatting.
Thank you for coming by.
Oh, anytime. I wish I could hang out longer, and hit me up the next time you want me back.
Yeah. Can you plug your social medias real fast? Any Twitch?
Go for it. It's just /Drift0r at everything. That's
/Drift0r everything. Twitter, Twitch.
Zero. If you're
Do you stream on Twitch or YouTube?
Twitch. So it's Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. That's it. I'm banned pretty much everywhere else.
You got the important ones. It's all good.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out, man. It was good meeting you. I'm sorry I missed the last one, but we'll see you again soon, I'm sure.
It's good meeting you, and I'll see you all around.
Later, man.
See you later, brother. He'll find it eventually.
Oh, I'm terrible with it. We've been doing this for months, and I'm terrible with it. When I go to leave the call after the end, whenever I'm always about to bust because I got to pee so bad, I'm always like, all right, bye, guys. And then you see 10 seconds of.
Where the fuck is it?
Fuck's sake.
Gosh, all you got to do is press the red X. That's all you got to do.
Bro, half the time I just close the whole fucking tab. Fuck it, dog. I just close the tab out. Whatever, man. I'm not looking anymore. I'm used to hovering.
press
in
one of
Zoom,
them.
you hover over the screen that you're talking on. So I go to hover over it and nothing pops up, and I don't think to look down at the bottom, and then I'm like,
oh yeah, because you're on Zoom right before this too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why my brain gets so crisscrossed, because I'm in a Zoom call right before that, and then I come over here to StreamYard, which I think is way better. Wouldn't work for what we're doing, of course, but for what we're doing here, it's better. It wouldn't work for voice
with
rehearsal.
10 people on screen. That's all it does.
Yeah, that would. We used to have the cameras on when I first started, but we gradually phased that out, thankfully, which is really good because I can just sit there and vape, turn my mic off, and play RuneScape or whatever, Especially on tonight, I had 5 lines, so I was mostly just chilling. That's the best part, is that I had 5 lines, and then I was still almost late tonight. But I love the crew and the people that I'm working with, so it's fun. I believe in the product. I believe in what we're doing. But it's going to make me hard to leave this show whenever we get done. I'm going to fuck up every time. What's that?
Speaking of cartoon shows, so I, because of COVID, have been in bed all fucking week. So I decided to start rewatching all of Family Guy.
Nice.
I love
I'm through 4 seasons already.
The first ones are the best, man. Yeah. Classics.
Back before they changed the animation style, and it's weird. You get that weird shift between where it becomes like what you're used to today and what you're I don't remember it being the shitty before.
Yeah, it was awful back then. It looked so bad.
Didn't have season 1, so I started out halfway through season 2. But
season 1 had some classics. There were some good ones in season 1, but hey, at least you're starting early. Screw it.
Yeah,
you're gonna get to those fun Stewie time travel paradox ones in a couple seasons. That was like season 4 or 5, huh? Those were great. Whole bunch of time travel episodes and paradoxes associated with them. We got to go back in time and stop ourselves from doing this. And immediately one pops up next to him. Wait, stop. Wait, stop. Stop. Wait, stop.
I'm waiting for the episode where they kill Lois. And,
that one pissed me off, man. They hyped that shit up so hard on TV when I was in high school. He's finally going to do it. He's finally going to kill her. And then it was like a dream or a simulation or whatever. That sucked. Yeah, and then they made fun of you at the end for believing it. You remember Brian's like, wait, so none of this mattered and it was all just a stupid machine? And he's like, yep, that's TV. The fuck? I thought he
and the one where Brian died, where they treated it like it was going to be the end of the series, and then they're like, nah, let's just.
If I'm not mistaken, Brian was actually supposed to be fully replaced in the series. He got tired of doing the voice of it or something like that, even though it's his speaking voice. And there was such fan uproar that he brought him back, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't they replace him with a different weird ass dog with or is that a whole different episode?
That's an episode where they do get a new dog. Yeah,
and he's super.
He's in that episode too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a brown dog. Shows ever to me. People get mad at this whenever I say this, though, but I did prefer Futurama in its original run. I love
Futurama.
Futurama, in my opinion, is just hands down one of the greatest shows ever made. It's brilliant. It's humorous. It's clever.
Mm-hmm. I prefer King of the Hill.
King of the Hill is probably my favorite out of the bunch of them, honestly. King of the Hill, dude, I just don't know how to put it, man. That show just hits different for me. It's just it's so Mike Judge. It's just so chill and toned down and so realistic. That's what I love about his humor, is how fucking realistic he is when he makes fun of everybody. It's great.
Everybody sits here and not everybody. My wife gets on me for this shit. And I told her, I was like, I like when things hit like they're real. I like nudity, I like stupidity, and I like everything to be exaggerative, but not so exaggerative that it's not real.
Yeah. Right. A little bit hyperbolic, to make it
for stage presence. Yeah.
I told her, I was like, imagine if they added sex and violence into Fast and the Furious. It would be the best movie ever. She's like, no, it wouldn't. I was like, well, if you go back to Too Fast, Too Furious and they add sex and a little bit of violence, it would be the best movie ever. And then she's like, no, it really wouldn't. I said, it's realistic. They would have sex in it. And best movie ever. I promise you.
So the only Fast and the Furious I've seen is Tokyo Drift. Same. And if you add those things, I think it would be great.
Exactly. It just makes everything better.
It's already a great movie, but
yeah.
I thought Tokyo Drift was great too. And I don't even care about cars or Fast and Furious. I thought it was a good movie, but
exactly.
I'm just saying, if there would have been a breast scene in it, and somebody beating somebody with a lead pipe, maybe it would have been a little more entertaining.
You see that Asian chick's titties, Well, she's supposed to be in high school, actually. That might be weird.
But in Japanese high school, and they go to high school till they're 20.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Or maybe one of those cars drive past and use their nitrous purge and blow her skirt up, and you see her whole entire ass cheeks. That's logical.
And they sell more tickets.
Exactly.
Because there's a butt. Mm-hmm. It's just like putting a girl in your YouTube thumbnail. You'll win every time.
Exactly.
The perverts just can't help themselves. They've been predictable for 7,000 years. Perverts come. You put some titties, you put some crack, whatever. They're coming.
They're coming.
Pee-wee Herman's on the way. Pee-wee's on the way with a ticket. Do it.
They come more than one way.
Yeah, exactly. They come and then they come. Exactly.
They're here and then they also come again.
The theater cleaners are going to have a big problem with this. Lots of sticky residue.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody else knows this joke, but I've also wanted to do this to see what the hell somebody would do. I wanted to sit behind somebody or sit behind like a group of people and spill my drink. And then wait until it dries up a little bit. And then they're like, oh, God damn, the floor's so sticky. I want to peek my head up in between them and say, it's because I just came.
That's a long setup for you to just say, I just came, and then get sued and arrested.
No, because it's not cum. I just poured my drink. Like, what the fuck are they going to do?
I think it's still considered sexual harassment to tell somebody you just came, bro. I'm pretty sure you can get arrested for that.
No.
I don't know the statute on that.
I'm pretty sure that that's sexual harassment. You can't talk about sex with a stranger, bro. If you walk up to a woman and tell her she's got a nice butt, how is that any different? You talk about sex with her, you know? I don't think you're allowed to do that. Definitely not in the workplace. I can say that. Now on the streets, maybe
definitely not in the workplace.
On the streets, I feel like that could be harassment, man. I'm telling you that there's something they can stick you with for that.
Cloudy is saying no, and he's a paralegal, so I'm gonna take him for his word.
I don't know, man. I'm also a big believer in the fact that I'm also a big believer in the fact that they do what the fuck they want to do, no matter what that paper says. So
yeah, of course.
I've heard people saying less things to people. Right? I've heard people saying things less directly to people with non-sex involved to be charged with harassment or disturbing the peace.
I've been going back, and my friends got me on this Canadian TV show, Kenny versus Spenny. It's kind of like a Canadian Jackass, except it's way before Jackass, and it's not as extreme. They don't do like stunts like that.
It wasn't before Jackass. Jackass came out before Kenny versus Spenny.
Okay. But I
remember the hell out of that show.
You've seen Kenny versus Spenny though, right? The shit that they do on that show, especially like Kenny, he would not be allowed to get away with that today.
No, way too edge. And even the pranks that he was pulling and the shit that he was talking, and the one where he was drinking non-alcoholic beer and Spenny was drinking beer, like just I wouldn't fly today. The internet's gotten real pussified since I've been gone. And it's funny because like I'm big on respecting people's individual rights, stuff like that. But I also I'm big on also people taking a joke. If you guys want to talk shit about nerdy white guys that are Twitch streamers and say they're the biggest piece of shit on the planet Earth, I'm not going to take it offensively. I'm going to say I'm not a piece of shit. You can judge me if you want, you know, but I don't know. The internet doesn't do that anymore. I figured that out.
I'm a real big piece of shit. We all know this already. I got told I was ugly this week. That was a lot of fun.
I never like getting told I'm ugly. It always kind of sucks, but it doesn't happen to me more because I'm married.
I got told I was an uglier version of Brandon Buckingham, which was absolutely hilarious.
Who told you that? Where'd you get that told that at? Was this
somebody's
in
like,
real life or online?
No, on the PK subreddit. They're like, is this Zach? ... question mark. Somebody's like, no, this dude is much prettier than Zach. Zach's too ugly.
Dang.
Oh my god, damn, bro. So it was kind of a backhanded compliment, honestly.
Yeah, it was. They were saying you look like a handsome guy. See, just not enough to be handsome.
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I've noticed on the PK subreddit that there's one guy. I don't really hang out in there all that often. You know, I just kind of scroll through and see what's going on. And there's one guy that comments every time anybody says my name and says, "Yeah, but I just can't stand his accent though." And he always has like 10 downvotes. And I'm like, bro, fucking don't listen.
You don't even have that strong of an accent.
Like, I do want to say this.
Maybe do a non-American.
I may not be a great producer. I may not be the greatest person in the world at my job.
But at least he does more than Chiz.
But there's a real chance that I've received the top 2 guests ever on PKA, and I got them by myself without asking for help.
Myth and Mick Kringle-Dingle. Both of whom were featured on PKA. Everybody's frantically Googling.
I have been talked about on PKA, but I've never been on.
That's pretty close.
Exactly.
I kind of ruined the legacy though whenever I went on the second time because I tried to play support.
No, I think it was good. I think people just didn't understand what you were there for. Like
exactly.
I agree with that. I think a lot of people were under the impression that I was the guest, you know, or that I was supposed to have a stronger stance. But as Zach made clear from the beginning, he was like, "You're just here to hang out, bud." And then did I tell you, Zach, that I posted that? And I was like, I was specifically told that I wasn't the guest, so I was just there to chill and hang out. And then they were like, "Well, that's a dick move." they told you you're not the guest. And I was like, no, not fucking like that. Like, I mean, like from the jump, when Zach said, would you like to be involved with this? He said, not as the guest.
Like, if Zach says not as the guest, I don't come off as an asshole.
I just don't get why they were so quick to crucify you. They're like, Zach told you, fucking
it
shut up.
Even matter
and I was like, that's not what
happened.
He didn't tell me to
how
shut
I'm
up.
coming across. Like, fuck.
Yeah, I was like, no. Like, did I imply that I was offended by what he told me? It was very logical. He said, Wendigoon is the guest. You're coming on for support. If Harley shows up, cool. If he doesn't, we got you. You know, we'll have the space full. I said, cool. What I hear is, let's try to let Wendigoon shine. So I tried. But either way, I'm also aware of the fact that Reddit is.
And then people were getting on Wendigoon about him laughing all the time.
I love his laugh, man.
Dude, I thought that episode was great. I'm a little bit personally afflicted here because I love Wendigoon, but
it's just such good content. When I went to look him up when he was coming on the podcast, I got hooked on this shit. I need to go back to his channel now, man.
I recommend. I'll watch his video on I Have No Mouth, but I Must Scream.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah,
we were talking about it yesterday.
I have to get him to do an episode on donut theory, and we're gonna have to do an episode on donut theory.
The fuck is donut theory?
So me and Wendigoon, the first time he came on here.
Oh, you told me about this, I think.
He was like the first big guest I was able to get on here. And he was like, yeah, man. Well, he wasn't the first big guest, but he was like the first one like with PK that I was able to get because I was elevated. And we came up with our own conspiracy theory to like fuck with people that are flat earthers, because flat earth started out as like a troll thing, but then went to like a mainstream thing. So
like it always does. Facebook,
a trolley fucking conspiracy theory that the earth is actually donut shaped, and it's like an asteroid belt that goes around the entire constellation, and it just spins this way and then also rotates as it spins in a circle. And that would correlate for rotation, days, nights, years.
So it's just like a malleable liquid substance, the earth, that's just rotating.
Yes,
like one of those stupid gel tube things that just like squishes back and forth. Oh my god.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just as logical as flat earth if you ask me personally. But
it's more logical if you think about it.
It actually makes sense with our cycles.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie, it does actually make more sense than flat earth. Honestly, yeah, it does.
Because if you think about it, the southern hemisphere is on the opposite time scale as us. They have the opposite fucking
and then we would be inverted from them. So they'd be 12.
It would be too skinny, so you would be on the opposite side of the sun.
Yeah,
you would rotate, and they would.
Oh my god! And then you're just going to basically see how long it takes until you see somebody defending it on Facebook.
Exactly.
Until you see somebody having a mean cutthroat argument on Facebook.
I think we try to make this conspiracy theory part of QAnon because they'll believe anything.
Yeah, those guys are just like, if you say it, they're going. Bro, all you got to do is get a website. You pay $2 a month for a website, and it's like iamlying.com, and they're fucking quoting it, screenshotting it, sending it, verified fact. Like, oh my God.
Now, what we do is we get Wendigoon to make a video, and then we start posting it on 4chan. We start posting it on 4chan, and then it just starts cycling.
It'll be just like the cicada thing.
Unfortunately, 4chan's interests are more different nowadays than stuff like that.
Damn.
Doesn't surprise me. I got on it whenever I got out of prison. I was just ashamed. I got right back off, and I haven't been back.
Yeah, no, it's terrible nowadays.
I got on the website for the first time in like 2007, so it's way different. Like back then it was just a bunch of nerds that didn't really have real life friends trying to make each other laugh and be offensive, and now it's a bunch of 12-year-olds that think they're cool because they're on B, and it's just like they're trying so hard to act like what they think you're supposed to act like, and it's just turning into cancer. And just no.
How do I say this in a politically correct way? It's transgender rated videos, adult rated videos. That is basically all of 4chan nowadays.
That doesn't surprise me. I thought you were going to say like it's like transgender friendly and stuff like that, because one of the most commonly used words is a slur, but they don't mean it that way. If you remember, that's actually normally used as a compliment. So I was what, did they do away with that? Normally it's a compliment on that website, but of course it is a hate word, So I was wondering, I thought you were going to say like they took that away, and I was like, damn, when Moot stepped down, they really fucked up. When I was locked up, I just remember seeing, I got a Rolling Stone or whatever magazines, and I read an article, I'm flipping through it, and I see an article about 4chan and the hacker group known as Anonymous. And I'm like, that's, cool, that again. And then like 6 months later, there's another article, and then there's another article. When I got locked up, at any given time, there was maybe 20 to 25,000 concurrent people on B, and now it's like 100 something thousand, like just they got a lot of coverage. They got a lot of coverage while I was locked up. And also Bitcoin blew up, and it was just really weird watching it from the inside, especially knowing that I had 7 Bitcoin in my digital wallet, sitting there and watching the shit skyrocketing to money that I've never even dreamt of, going, damn, I got to get out of here. I could actually hire a lawyer.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, the moral of the story, guys, is buy a lot of crypto, I guess. Fuck's sake. You never know which one's going to blow up, because we had 7 damn Bitcoin, 7 entire, not fractions, 7 Bitcoin, because you didn't do fractions back then. I think you could, but I never heard anybody do it.
Yeah, nobody was doing it because
the fractions of Bitcoin that I knew of, and I probably shouldn't out myself like this, but I'm going to motherfucking say it. The only fractions of Bitcoin that I ever dealt with back then, because they were dirt cheap, was the fractions that you paid to Silk Road for the commission. That's the only fractions and slicing of the Bitcoins, because they were cheap. They're like $30. Mm-hmm. Why the fuck do you need a half a Bitcoin for anything? You know what I mean? Like, you can't order drugs with $15. And then I'm sitting there in jail, and they're like, Bitcoin hits the mainstream, and all of a sudden spiked at fucking $85,000 each or something. And I'm like, okay, good. That's good. Okay, great.
I'm okay.
Which one of my friends is in the Bahamas? I've always made that joke, but as I've said many times,
no, they went to Panama. What are you talking about?
They'd have to be a fool,
nothing about Panama,
because they don't know shit about Panama. They better not go to Panama. They would be ran out of there. I tell you that. They damn sure we ran out of Panama with that money. I'm getting some emotes made, by the way, with a big question mark on Florida for a Twitch emote.
Oh, that's great.
It's like the state of Florida with a big fucking question mark on it. The fuck? Hopefully, it'll be at least close to like geographically where Panama is, which I think is in the Panhandle.
And then I'll have to resize it again.
Probably. Well, no, actually, I mean, I paid for this already. This is like official, legitimate.
Oh.
That was me and Karis trying, and I'm like, fuck this. I'm asking Zach and Myth. One of them knows how to do this. I promise you. I was right.
I got you.
I was right to trust you. I was like, hold on. Let me just ask them. I know that both of them know how to do this stuff. I don't know how to do shit. I'm working on it. I thought I did good on my last thumbnail, and I got like 9 complaints about it. So I'm learning.
I'm a shitty graphical artist that has no idea what I'm doing.
You should make some emotes for me. The stuff that you were working on is plenty good for emotes. If you can make them, either they got to be PNG transparent background and shit typically, But.
I know. I have emotes on my channel. I use
them. Yeah, no, the
channel.
beard is all transparented out.
I use them in your channel.
Did you make the RSK?
Yes.
I thought so.
I made the RMTS, I made the brother, and I made the pizza.
I do remember Zach Brother. Hot Love Zach Brother.
Yep. Brother.
With an A at the end.
Yeah.
Windigoon actually just made a video on Five Nights at Freddy's trilogy. Have you guys played Five Nights at Freddy's? I played the first one.
I beat the first one. Shit was stupid, honestly, man.
Yeah, it's such a kid's game, right?
It's just like I spent 2.5 hours on like the next to last night. It's just I was over it. I was fucking over it. I was like, this is not an entertaining game for me. Why? He did a video about like the story behind it.
So I think he goes like deep into like the fan lore. I haven't watched it yet, but stuff like that is pretty interesting. I love like fan created lore and everything when they just go super deep and you can kind of like see just other people's creative minds at work and kind of bringing in another aspect of somebody who like they didn't create Five Nights at Freddy's, somebody else like us expanding upon other people's work.
But keeping it consistent, and trying to build off of it. I always respect stuff like that too. This is going to sound totally random, but on that note, back in my acid days, we used to listen to the Flaming Lips a lot. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They're a real hippie out ass fucking band. And they got a song called Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots Part 2. And it's like it sounds. The whole song is, her name is Yoshimi. She's fighting these robots. She's a black belt in karate, taking vitamins because she has to destroy these pink robots. And like the song makes no fucking sense, right? Like 6 months before I went to prison, I was surfing around the internet and I found fan fiction fucking Yoshimi. And they had invented a universe behind this song, dude, where she was like subject to the Japanese government had created these robots to like overthrow a rebellion, but they got out of control. And so they can't publicly endorse the fact that they're destroying these robots. And they hire like a robot assassin named Yoshimi because she's a black belt in karate to take out the fucking evil robot overlords. But they can't publicly endorse that they made the mistake. So she has to secretly operate and it's illegal. Like, dude, this was a stupid song that Wayne Coyne wrote when he was on acid about some Japanese girl fighting a fucking robot. And these dudes made this cinematic masterpiece, like fan artwork of her standing on this like decrepit city line of like Tokyo in the future. And like robots are climbing up the buildings, just like mangling humans and shit. It's insane. It's from this stupid song. It's from some shit that wasn't even meant to be that deep, Probably similar to Five Nights at Freddy's. Hey, you know what? What if fucking Chuck E. Cheese's was spooky? Oh shit, we got a game, dog. But then you get these guys out here that are on Adderall, and they're like, "Hey, fucking, you know what? Let's make a really cool story."
There's this dude. I actually want to try and get him on the podcast because I think it would be an interesting conversation. He does like the backstory of Pokemon content.
Oh, cool.
And it'll be like what myth it's based off of, what yokai, which is like Godzilla and that kind of stuff. And it's just super, super in depth. And they're like 30 fucking minute videos on like, this is what the entire generation's based off of.
I think I watched one of these actually.
His name's Loxton.
He was explaining about the names and what every single one means and like how this is in Japanese culture traditionally a dragon. I remember this for a couple of Pokemon. I can't remember them now.
Yeah, his name's Loxton.
Gyarados was one.
And the show's Noggin. Gnoggin.
Like I remember Gyarados was one. Like it was supposed to be koi fish, turned into a dragon as Magikarp to Gyarados.
Yeah, going over the Dragon Gate.
Dragon Gate. What is it? Conspiracy?
Exactly. No, it's a myth that was passed down. I don't remember if it's in China or Japan, but koi fish travel up.
You're talking about the koi fish.
Yeah. They go over a Dragon Gate.
And okay. I thought you were saying the Pokemon names. This is before Dragon Gate. Like there was some scandal relating to the names that you're like Dragonite means dragon penis in Japanese or something was what I was waiting for here.
No,
I was really hyped on Dragon Gate. But yes, what he's referring to is that the koi fish must swim up a waterfall over the Dragon Gate. And when they get to the top, they become a fully realized dragon. That's why every hippie has a koi fish fucking tattooed on their ankle because it's them climbing up their waterfall because they're going to become a dragon. Oh my God! Do you remember whenever I called out people with DMT and THC molecule tattoos and we all on PKA, and then I go, "Did y'all see that? Man, I hope that whoever that guy was watches this. Man, that was awesome." Somebody immediately posted a picture of his fucking DMT tattoo, molecule tattoo on his leg, and was like, "Damn, Josh called me out," and I was like, "I mean, I was right though."
That's gonna be somebody out there tattoo.
No,
right here, dog. Right here. Dude, that would be sick.
I am like a big fan of chemistry and can actually like describe a DMT molecule on like he probably can't. I would not get that. That's very cringy.
Nah, man, it's sick. It's just overplayed. I thought it was sick in 2010 when everybody first started smoking Deemsters. That like as far as I became aware, I mean, I don't know how long everybody's been smoking DMT, but I heard about it in like 2011 or something like that. Right, a year.
It's been popular since like 2000.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't ever hear about it until obviously I got in that scene, which was 2010 or so. Good old Deemsters. I'm not getting that molecule tattooed on me. Like the first person, I was like, "Oh, that's cool, man," because it's like it means.
Was it the correct molecule?
I honestly don't know. Apparently, the one on the subreddit was not, is what everybody was saying. They were all like, "That is not correct. That is not actually a DMT. That's a blah 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 whatever molecule."
That's a big mistake that people make with stuff like that. Is like they don't know what they're talking about, so they just.
And they don't know what each line represents, and et cetera, and how it's supposed to actually connect. They just kind of get this vague looking, or
like
it's almost like getting a calligraphy tattoo in Japanese or Chinese, and that might say "dickhead" on it. You really don't fucking know.
That's why, in all honesty, I made sure all of my tattoos have either a meaning behind them or I drew them myself.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah,
every single one of them,
including your Nazi Death Eater tattoo. Apparently,
yes, I completely helped design my tattoo.
Apparently, Zach gets called a Nazi because he's got a Death Eater tattoo. For those who don't know,
whatchamacallit, there is a conspiracy theory that people that will actually become Death Eaters or want to become Death Eaters are just people that are afraid to say that they're Nazis.
I just don't get it. I just don't see the fucking correlation.
I haven't heard that.
If you want to make a parallel between like the ideology of the Death Eaters, and
yes, that's the problem.
Yeah, sure, I can see a parallel. Sure. That's a lot different than liking the book series.
I was very much into politics when I was younger and talked to actual Nazis and never heard anything like that. Like people who identified as National Socialists.
By the way, Voldemort, you know what I mean? Like, nah, it's not.
Well, I think the problem is the whole pure blood thing.
Right.
That's why most people would sit there and say it. Like I can understand.
That's why I say that I could see it.
On like a basic level, I can understand. But if you don't understand the tongue-in-cheek reasoning of my tattoos, and it's kind of blind.
Yeah.
It's not up to somebody else to tell you what your fucking tattoo means.
Yeah. Just like I also drew that too.
I'll say that about a lot of things in life. It ain't my motherfucking business. You know what I mean?
I can't draw at all. It might be because the fact that I skipped art class like almost every single day to play Uno with my friends.
Yeah, probably. I suck at art too. I'm terrible at it. I actually did want to get a Death Eater tattoo. Did I ever tell you that, Zach? I think I told you that when we first met and you talked about that tattoo. I wanted to get it too. I actually drew it out and everything. I was going to get the one from the book, though. It's a little more simplified.
Yeah.
Like a sketchy kind of like 2D skull, with a snake tongue. I didn't want to get the movie hyper realistic looking one.
Oh, this one isn't the movie
like the
one
way,
either.
No. You got like a custom one, huh?
Yeah. The dude literally sat there and drew the snake out on my arm.
That is awesome.
Freehand with a marker or something?
Yep.
I'm getting the tattoo itch again.
I am too. It's really bad.
I think we're going for a chest piece soon.
I'm going to get the Jason mask right here.
That's Friday not stereotypical. Oh, yeah. Oh, from Friday the 13th. That's never been done.
No, I know, right?
Have you been to the feds? My goodness.
Well,
everybody in the feds got Jason.
My arm is.
Oh, really?
You can put some barbed wire and some bricks, bro.
Is that a common thing in the feds?
Maybe if you're feeling really frisky, you can put a barking pit bull and a skull. Yeah, bro.
Well, so many people get attached to Jason because like killing and shit like that with malice, I would assume. But
Probably, they're trying to be a badass.
My entire arm is like things that I like that have meaning behind them. So like my childhood was shitty. So like,
well, Zach, where's your Crip tattoos from high school when you were a Crip?
Okay, so let's go back to Zach Gang stories.
He's putting his blue hoodie on and everything. He's repping tonight. Overlays blue.
Exactly. Fuck, man. You guys didn't catch on really quick.
Took
Josh, you're wearing the wrong color. Sorry.
Oh shit. Oh man, he kicked me out the crew, man. From a Pizza Planet shirt. I'm repping Pizza Planet, not me. Hey, Andromeda Horsehead Galaxy. What's up?
When I was 15, my mom told me, she's like, you can get whatever. No, I was 14. My mom's like, you can get whatever you want for your birthday. And my main choice was either to get my tongue pierced or to get teardrop tattoos.
Dear God, Zach. So I'm hoping you have a tongue piercing.
No, I didn't get either of them. I got a Nintendo Wii and a digital camera.
Probably a better move.
Yeah. But, so she's like, well, if you want to get your tongue pierced, I want you to write down why and then research the bad things that can happen of it, which is why I didn't get my tongue pierced. I was like, I don't want my teeth breaking.
Risk versus reward.
I would love to vibrate some clits, but
you'd also like to be able to chew food efficiently.
Exactly. So I was like, fuck.
See, the thing that worries me about tongue piercing is rubbing it against the back of my teeth. Like, that's a big issue for a lot of people.
Crawl.
Is like,
that's why they crack. That's why you lose teeth, because it breaks them.
Right.
So that's why I didn't get my tongue pierced. And then I was like, I had 2 people die in my main life.
Not your fake life, teardrops. But your main life.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like people that were directly.
I know what you mean, man. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get some teardrops because that's the other meaning for teardrops. Not just people you've killed, but also people that have died.
Lost loved ones.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'll get teardrops. Like, yeah, I'm as badass as Lil Wayne. I'll get some teardrops. I got talked out of that one real quick. She said, Zach, you're not in the city anymore.
You're gonna be the outcast out here, boy. They're gonna be staring at you everywhere you go.
Now all these bitches and
Zach,
all these dudes are getting fucking face tattoos at 15.
Yeah, now it's like the thing. Yeah. Now it's actually just the thing to have fucking face tats.
Eventually, we're gonna get to the point where everybody has the diamond in their forehead, like that one.
Oh, like that rapper Vert or whatever.
Yeah,
Lucifer, Lil Uzi Vert or whatever. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Zach's the one that told me about that shit.
Yep.
I didn't get talked out of a tattoo, but I passed out from drinking hooch when I was locked up, and I had paid in cash. And this is not me anymore, but this gives you a little insight into how I was when I arrived in prison. I paid in cash, stamps, money, a lot of money for prison to get a giant, huge, inverted star with a goat head in it and like satanic runes across my collarbone. Dude, I paid for this thing, bro. He had only had like this little sketch of it, and I was drunk, and I was like, bro, I'm going to get my stamps, bro. That's fucking sick, dog. I'll be right back, bro. And I fucking stagger to my cell, and I come back with the stamps, and I dump them. I sit in his chair, and I just like went straight out, right? And my friends argued with that dude all night, like up until lockdown, because we still had like 4 hours to lockdown. It was the afternoon, nighttime for us, everybody chilling on the block and stuff. And they sat there with that dude, and they were like, dude, listen, he doesn't fucking want that tattoo, bro. He's drunk as shit. He thought it looked rock and roll. Do not. And he's over here like, he gave me the money. Like, I'm doing this tattoo, bro. And they were like, and I mean, the alternate here is like, hey, listen, don't do the tattoo and give him the money back. Like, that fucking, luckily, my friends were pretty tough. And they pretty much told that guy in no uncertain terms that he absolutely was not to tattoo on me ever if I was drunk, because they learned from this that I act stupid when I drink. They didn't know that yet, that if I drink more than like 3 or 4 bottles of hooch, I'm getting weird and I'm going to probably make everybody mad, start acting like a complete asshole. But I'm really glad they didn't let me do that. He ended up giving my stance back the next day and was like, I can still do that for you. And I was like, I'm good, man. I'm good. And then he's like, hey, I'm cooking some hooch. And nah, we ain't doing it. Nah. Nice try, motherfucker. I got some hooch
and
in
also,
there, man.
Some asshole, Cloudy, asked me what the lyrics I have tattooed on my chest, and it's "You get saved by your angels or you become one," because I was suicidal.
I bet that's not what it says. Check it.
It is.
Prove it.
It's
I'm just kidding. I know. You remember a couple weeks ago he didn't remember it. He said it wrong the first time. I actually think you did remember it. You just stuttered and we jumped on it. I think is what really happened. All that really happened, I think, is you just stammered for a split second, and we're like, oh, because we're dicks,
Exactly.
You really forgot.
You got to mess with them a bit.
Just that.
Well,
that
you don't look at
stammer.
it. You don't look at it all the time. Like,
yeah,
I know it's there.
Like the other day, I was looking at my tattoos, and I was like, I almost damn forgot about some of these for real, So
how could you forget about Einstein?
I didn't forget about Einstein. That's one I wish I could forget about. I haven't smoked enough pot to forget about Einstein yet. I don't know what I'm just gonna have to get that covered up, bro. I don't know. Maybe that should be what I do. Maybe I should try and see if they can get a photorealistic Einstein over that. But I just think he fucked the eyes up. Einstein's on acid, bro. His pupils look like quarters. They're solid black eyes. Like he looks like he's Tyler the Creator's black contact lenses that he used to use.
Leave the face of it and then make it psychedelic in the top.
Oh God. Look, this is what I'm gonna do because I'm not artistic. I'm gonna go to the tattoo shop and explain to him I want this to look better, and I trust you. That's his job, It's pretty much the same thing that I did with this art guy that I'm doing for the emotes on Twitch. Like I was like, I can give you like a loose outline, but I'm not creative like that. If we need like some problem solving and stuff, that's more my area of expertise. When it comes down to artistic creativity, it's not my. I mean, I guess I can play guitar, but I agree. Einstein is the best, but my tattoo of Einstein is not. Well, I had a lot of time to practice, to be fair. I was not nearly that good before prison. I wasn't anywhere near. I was like less than 1% of what I am now. And I thought I was good, of course, which is funny because I was less than 1% of the player that I am today. And at that time, I thought I was the best guitar player ever. And today I know that, yes, I'm an advanced guitar player, but there are many out there that are greater than me. Like a good guitar player knows.
Yeah.
I'll get my chode smoked the second I get a big attitude. So I don't do that. I had a very humbling experience. I learned music theory when I was in prison. Did I ever tell you guys? And I'm not going to like go off on specifically music theory, but this was a life lesson that was important to me. All right. Did I ever tell you guys why I learned music theory?
No.
It's really important for why I became the musician at the level that I am now is because I studied music theory. It's like the blueprints for music, like why this sounds good and why these go together, how to stay in key and never step out. It's the rules for music, Yeah. And I was a metal shred player. That's all I played before prison. I used to smoke pot, practice my sweep arpeggios all day, just sitting there because I just want to be the fastest guy in the world, just 80s shred. That's all I was about. So whenever I got to prison, there was this old blues player, man. This dude was Paul. He's probably like 60 years old, man. This old white dude, And he was the guitar teacher for the prison. And he would come up to me when he'd see me playing guitar about every damn day talking about, hey, man, I'm a guitar teacher. You come in there sometime, I'll give you a lesson. Why don't you come in there? I'll show you some stuff. Hey, come in there sometime. I'll teach you some stuff. And, of course, at that time, my ego's this fucking big, right? Yep. And I'm over here like, bitch, I do sweep arpeggios. You're 60. Like, sweep arpeggios is a really advanced metal technique. That's super fast and wasn't even invented until the 80s. So I already knew this guy's not doing it, but it's like a point of pride for guitar players. Like, oh, I can sweep, and you get this big dick attitude about it, Well, anyways, after weeks of him not getting the hint that I didn't think he was worthy to teach me anything, he walks up to me and is like, hey, I just found the scale in the book, and I want to try it out real quick. Can you hit a G7 chord for me? So I hit a G chord. He goes, no, hit a G7. And I'm just staring at him. He's like, a G dominant 7 chord. And I was like, the fuck is that? He's like, dude, a G7 chord, like with the fucking major third and a minor seventh. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. That is the most confusing shit. Is that music? Are you talking about guitar? And I got so humbled by that, dude. I could play sweep arpeggios, and I can play fast staccato lines, and I can do all the cool tapping and the double-handed switches and all that, and it don't make a fuck because I couldn't play a G7 chord at the end of the day. I had no comprehension of what I was doing.
Yep.
I wasn't a good musician. I wasn't able to get into a band and play. You want me to hit a G? Yeah, that's cool. When he said G7, my brain blew up. I said, Josh.exe has stopped working. I never heard of that shit.
I was even worse than that.
So I shut up and I let him teach me. And Bill Nye said, I'm sorry, Zach, I'm rapping.
You're good.
Bill Nye said, everybody you ever meet in your entire life knows something that you don't know. So keep that attitude, everybody, because that old man got me addicted to music theory. And yeah, I could play faster than him, but I damn sure couldn't play better than him. I'll tell you that. I learned a lot from him because of that. And a lot about life, I think, because this old school, I just made my assumptions about where I'm at. And I really got my ego deflated, and it was good.
I just read the story incorrectly. I thought there was a gap, and I was gonna. So, like, when I started music, I absolutely hated the saxophone in like 5th grade because it weighed more than me, and like, why the fuck did I want to carry that shit around? So when I went to middle school, I switched to drums, and I was able to like actually measure the rhythms without reading the fucking music because I never learned how.
Right.
And like I could actually replicate what the hell they were doing.
Because your ear, like, you'd hear it once probably, and then you pick up on it.
Yep. And they're like, Zach, can you play this new thing? Nope. Play it first.
Yep. That's pretty much the level of guitar player that I was at. It doesn't necessarily speak to your, lack of skill in your area of what you're doing on an instrument. It just is kind of a box for creativity, if that makes sense. It just kind of goes with your creation.
Do you think you would have been as interested in music if you started studying music theory first, though, rather than just having it like music as a hobby? Obviously, you really liked heavy metal, and then starting to play guitar like that. Do you think you would have gotten like as into it if like your mom hired a guitar coach to teach you music theory straight off the bat or something like that?
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
It developed naturally out of necessity over time. I eventually got to the point where with my level of knowledge, I wasn't going to get any better. My fingers could only do so much without expanding my knowledge to where else to go on the fretboard. I had this limited view of like, okay, scales and chords are here. I didn't know that you can take those notes and they go all the way up the fretboard and repeat infinitely. And so I don't have to do a G chord as only G, B, and D played together. You don't have to play it like this. You can play it like this. You can play it like this. You can play it like this. I didn't know that, and that's what elevated me to a whole new level of playing with a band because, this dude says, okay, I'm playing a G here. Okay, well, you're playing it there. And I'm going to go do what Slash would do in Guns N' Roses. And I'm going to play that bitch up here. And now we're fucking cooking. You know what I'm saying? But no, I don't think I would have actually studied it. I pretended that I knew music theory. I even have a YouTube video where I was explaining music theory 100% incorrect, completely wrong. It was explained to me by a drunk guy at a bar that, like most musicians, gets really egotistical and defensive when you say music theory because guitar players don't have to learn it. Every other instrument pretty much does. So guitar players, we think we're the best musicians ever, but we don't even have to do the circle of fifths and shit like piano players do. Like we got the cheapskateest instrument in the world. Like you learn one pattern and it's all your scales. It's really easy, But it developed out of necessity for me, man. When that dude told me to play a G7 chord and I realized I didn't, I was like, there's chords that have numbers in them, which is like literally 99% of the music that you hear day-to-day basis is not just the standard normal chords. It's going to have like a second or a fourth here. And I just was unaware to this world. And so all of a sudden I learned these new chords and now I've got these spacey tones, and these big shimmery feelings. And I really fell in love with studying the theory, but it is an uphill boulder for people in music, in my opinion. People don't like to study theory. And there's a point you have to push uphill the whole way until it becomes fun. It is a pain in the ass learning it. You got to learn everything 10 times. It's confusing as shit. It's like a combination of math and science almost. But once you get to the level where it's comprehending and you get your first epiphany and the shit clicks, it's like a drug almost, man. You get addicted to it. But no, I don't think I ever would have become a very good musician, like the level of musician I am today, had I not gotten locked up and got schooled by this old fucking meth head in prison that had been playing guitar since before I was born, and I still thought I was better than him. It taught me a little bit of respect. It doesn't matter if he can't play as fast as I can. Jimi Hendrix couldn't do sweet fucking arpeggios. Does that make me better than Jimi Hendrix, for the love of God? Hell no. That man had 17 fingers, for fuck's sake. It doesn't matter if he did sweet arpeggios or how fast he played. Some of the Jimi Hendrix's greatest songs, he played slow as shit.
So when you guys were teenagers, were you guys super, super egotistical and ego-driven and everything else like I was?
Yeah, I was a dick.
To some extent. It depends.
Myth's still pretty young. When I was Myth's age, I was an asshole. That probably feels weird for you to hear that.
I wish I was as egotistical as I was then now.
Yeah, I know, right? That confidence was great, wasn't it? Thinking you were great at everything was great. That was awesome.
No, like, I have an ego because it's like, things are going the right way. But I wish I was actually confident in myself and understood myself the way I did then. So that way I could actually have that whole confidence of, hey, I don't have to second guess every single thing I do.
Right, yeah.
So like my entire childhood, my parents would tell me, you're so egotistical. You just need to stop it and you'll be a great kid.
Like, I mean, that's good advice to somebody, but it's not that simple. You know what I mean?
No.
What do you do with that when you're a teenager? I wouldn't have known what the fuck that meant.
Yeah. I have a very weird upbringing because I was in high school, like beginning of freshman year, I was super developed into politics. So I was head admin in running, editing, going to film for political commentators over the world. And I was talking to people who were involved in politics all the time, way older than I am. So I feel like I got a lot of introspective thoughts, and got a lot from talking to them on a daily basis rather than hanging out with people around my own age. So I feel like I matured somewhat a lot faster than.
Yeah, so did I.
I wish I'd have been where you're at when I was your age. I'll tell you that much, man. It's good that you're not making the same dumb mistakes that so many of us have fucking made. It's good that you can do things like weed or whatever else you engage in and handle yourself still and not lose your fucking mind like I did, or you don't have a big ego like me. Whenever I was your age, I thought I was the biggest hot shit in the world, and everybody said anything to me that I took as disrespect, I'd swing at them, and ego. It was all ego, just like Zach's parents said. But how did you take that advice? What do you do when she tells you need to stop being egotistical?
And it wasn't even self-confidence, because I was very, very introspective. I'm a very shitty person. I don't understand why people like me and shit like that. I'm still like that. But I'm very, if I play video games, I'm going to beat your ass. So it was more competitive as well. No, I was super competitive. I was super egotistical with things that I knew that I did right. There wasn't anything that you were going to, and if I knew something, I would make sure you knew I knew it, and I would make sure you know that you're a fucking idiot for not knowing it.
I was never really competitive until I did large doses of shrooms.
That's interesting. It's normally the opposite for people.
Yeah, but I didn't become unhealthily competitive. But before, I would just play everything for fun. I didn't care about games at all. I'd just hop on, play a couple rounds. Didn't care if I won or lost. And then it became okay, I want to drive to get better now, rather than being toxic or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I could also see it being a flip thing, on that experience of mushrooms, more so than I need to, I'm better and I can do this and I can beat people and be better than them. More of I can do this because I can improve myself, Let me see if I can push my own limits and really.
It was more of that.
Yeah, I can see that being a mushroom experience, because most people are just they hit way too far on acid or mushrooms, and they're like, "Yo, I've been an asshole, bro. I'm so concerned about myself and nobody else, and everybody's out here being human, and it sucks, and we all need money and food, and it's wild as fuck out here." And their ego kind of goes away, But in this case, I don't think what you experienced was any kind of acquisition of an ego. That sounds more like it was confidence. There we go. The difference between arrogance and confidence. You know what I'm saying? It's just more you just took inventory of yourself and you were like, you know what? I think I can do cool shit. I think that I can, I can use my brain for good and do, and put myself above other people. Not in a bad way. I feel like I know where you're coming from. I had enough acid trips and shroom trips to know.
So I left it until the end of the episode because I thought that would be funny. Last week we left off on a cliffhanger of when I drove a NASCAR tire up my nose. So I figured we would save it for the end and be an asshole. So I was very little and I watched NASCAR religiously. My first 4 years of TV was Rugrats, NASCAR, and professional wrestling. That's all I watched. So I used to play NASCARs on the floor, and I had to have the expensive ones with the rubber tires that would make skid marks if you went really fast and slid them across the floor. So I thought it was cool to take off the tires when they would actually sit there and get the tire changed and fill up with gas and stuff like that. And they had to be where I placed them, because if anybody sat there and tripped over them, I'd get extremely fucking pissed. So I'm sitting there changing one of the car's tires and rotating them. For some reason, I put it up my nose. I don't remember exactly why.
For some reason.
I put it up my fucking nose. Hold on. I'm having a problem breathing. Yeah. And it got stuck in my nose, obviously. I was fucking 3.5, 4 years old.
Did it have holes in it, or could you only breathe out of one side of your nose?
No, it was an actual, think about a tire. It wasn't with the rim inside. You pull the tire off because the rim keeps the tire on the die cast. So I end up having to go to the hospital.
Of course. Zach's story every time. So I end up having to go to the hospital. The classic Zach story.
If I wasn't in the hospital at least 3-4 times out of every single year, there was a problem.
So I ended up having to go to the hospital.
So they look at my mom. They're like, well, he has a tire up his nose.
And they were like, son,
thanks.
you're at the wrong place. The special ed school is
it's over that way.
It's over the next door.
I was actually talking to my mom about this because she listened to the show last week. She's like, yeah. So what do you remember about it? And I was like, I remember this and remember that. She's like, you remember all of it. You were fucking 3 years old and you remember the entire fucking thing.
It was probably horrifying.
So they're like, okay, so you're going to have to blow in your son's mouth and we're going to grab it with these forceps.
No way to blow the air back through.
Yep.
They didn't trust you to just go. Oh, I guess you
I
needed
was
extra
3
force,
years old.
Yeah, good point. You needed extra force because you were 3. So you got to make out with your mom is what I'm hearing.
Oh, God.
So my mom blows in my mouth, blows the tire out of my nose.
Tweezers up your shit.
So the doctor turns around, puts the tire in this container and goes to hand it to the nurse. I'm like, wait, I need that back. I have a car that only has 3 wheels on it.
Good logic, bro. Good thinking, Zach. Wait, hold on. You can't throw that away. Did they give it back to you?
No, they didn't.
Fuck, man. That's like when I asked for my appendix when they removed it. They don't ever give you the shit they take out of you, bro. That's crazy. That's mine. That was your Hot Wheel tire.
So
bro.
That leads into another story that we're going to have to tell next week. Let's finish this one first. So
we ended up going to the hospital.
My mom brings me to that's another hospital story. So
this is like Wendigoon with the CIA. The CIA did it, and then we find out really the fucking. Oh
yeah,
my God.
Exactly. So my mom brings me to KB Toys. She's like, Zach, you can get a NASCAR. I understand you have a car now at home with only 3 wheels. Go get a NASCAR. So somehow, because I remember the exact cars I got the 6 Viagra car, which was driven by Mark Martin, and a Nesquik. Yes. And I got a Nesquik car that was actually like the Bush series, but it was really fucking cool. It was bright yellow and chocolate milk. And we ended up going to the park. And then we went on this fucking cruise down the Hudson River. And that was the end of the story.
Sounds like it worked out pretty nicely for you.
Yeah.
My dad would have slapped the tire out of my head and then told me it's my dumb fault that my car's only got 3 tires on it and that I got to play with a car with 3 fucking tires now. If I don't want to do that, then maybe I shouldn't shove tires up my nose. I'm glad she was understanding. It sounds like it was good, though. I like that thing she told you earlier about write down everything about your tongue piercing. Sounds like, you know.
Well, my mom's a nurse, so like she's super in depth with stuff like that.
It's also crazy that you remember a story from when you were 3. I don't remember most of my childhood.
Yeah, my wife starts at like 7 or something like that. No trauma, by the way. Just
I have trauma.
Like I even have full days of like the day my grandmother died. I have full days of like when my sister came home when I was like 3.5, 4-ish. Like I have full complete.
Yeah, I've got little like clumps in the like the pre-3 age, but as far as my self-awareness and my thick memories comes in at like age 6 or 7 when I moved to Oxford. So that's when like life, as far as my memories go, began. You know,
and there's even stories that I've told my mom like, "Hey, this is what I remember," and she's like, "That's exactly how things happened."
Yeah, my mom does that too. She's like, "What the fuck?"
About it.
Yeah, you remember that 25 years later?
Yep.
Yeah,
and there's like chunks that I'm missing. It's weird. Like I'll remember like a little bit from here, and then it'll like skip. You know, and
you're not really sure if that was a week apart or a year or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. It's just super time warpy. It's a lot of fun.
And especially if you keep going to the hospital every 30 minutes, you just get confused. You know, you're not sure how many IVs you had this week. They should have just left an IV in your arm, huh? Just hook them up. Fuck it.
So from the time I was like 6 or 7 until the time I was 16, I either had pneumonia or really, really close to pneumonia every single year within a month of my birthday.
That's oddly fucking specific.
That's crazy.
That is very specific. Wait, is that the story you're going to lead up with?
No, I'm actually going to tell you the story of my neck surgery, but that's next week.
We'll have to wait for that again, and then we'll get another hospital story. We've got to start collecting hospital stories and put them all into one big compilation eventually.
Zach thought the nurses were his aunts at the hospital. Like he just called them all by their first name all the time. Just thought they were family.
No. So my mom worked at a nursing home, and like the CNAs were very, very close with each other. My mom was an LPN, so she was like their boss.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, actually, I told some stories about on here about how she beat the shit out of her husband with a baseball bat. Remember the cocaine story?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of them would tell my mom when I was 13
I do.
that I'm so fucking hot that she doesn't understand and everything else. Now, these ladies were in their 20s. Now, I'm a 13-year-old kid with a fucking afro. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Zach with his dirty blonde afro.
It wasn't dirty blonde, though. You have to remember, when I joined PKA, I dyed my hair dark metallic blue. So the blonde in my hair actually isn't supposed to be there.
Oh, it's just the fade.
It's faded.
Yeah. It's faded down to bleach now.
Yeah, my hair was actually blonde when I was a kid, like super, super little. Like all my kids' hair was blonde and everything else. But it was like super fucking, like I could show you my floor and say it was darker than that, but it's not going to tell you anything.
Like I don't have anything. Chat?
Yeah, she is.
She was here a couple weeks ago.
She was 19, apparently.
Yeah. Actually, the lady that beat the shit out of her husband with a baseball bat. One time, we were going through a really hard time, and she went into the residence cafeteria and shit, and stuffed full gallons of milk inside of her pants and walked out of the nursing home with it. So that way we had gallons of milk at home.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets it done.
She's also the sister of the Latin king that tried to inject me into the Latin kings too.
Inject.
Yep.
Yeah.
Inject. Zach 2022. Inject me into the Latin king. Zach 2022.
Well, they give you like some serum.
I think you meant to say induct.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't.
But inject works too.
Yeah, exactly. I was being infused.
You call you hot load Zach. I mean, you got to be injecting into something. Got to inject those hot loads somewhere.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that in front of your mother.
Oh, I don't care. She knows. She knows. I'm hot load Zach. It is what it is.
Yep. She can tell by the kids at a young age.
Yeah. There were two that happened within her household. So I don't really think that
she's not going to be offended.
Yeah.
This has been a good one, man. I'm glad I got to finally meet Drift0r, dude. Wait, what'd you say? She also what?
She also had to deal with this story because this is how open my household was. So my mother-in-law, well, who's my mother-in-law now, came in and she's like, Zach, I know we're not using I know you guys aren't using condoms. Why? So I'm standing like we had a bar in our kitchen. So I was standing at the end of the bar and I'm like, they just don't fit. And my mother-in-law's like, then what do you want me to use to size it? My smart ass, without like thinking, just said, well, the only two things that possibly would fit would be Glad Press and Seal or garbage bags. So I'm able to custom fit them to me because that's the only way that it's going to work.
So then here she comes with a garbage bag. Like, I mean, it's better than not having a baby. I mean, it's better than having a baby when you're not prepared for it.
No, she didn't have a response. And then she said, I understand why you guys had a kid then.
Couldn't even help it. Yeah.